All right, we're on. All right, welcome back to the second period, folks. We're really excited today to welcome a much beloved Islander hero from the 1990s, a rugged, fearless competitor, a fierce warrior. I mean, this guy took on all comers, including some of the toughest names in the 90s in the NHL during his time. Now, he's got 1,525 penalty minutes over 509 games, 10-plus seasons with the Islanders. That put him number 2 on the Islanders list behind our old friend and his close buddy, Mick Vukota. All right, so he had 10 years with the Islanders, a 15-year career in the NHL, a couple of quick stops with the Rangers and the Blues, and during that time, 1997, right, you had the Bob Nystrom Award recipient, all-around great dude. Please welcome Rich Pilon. Hey, Rich, thanks for joining us tonight. We know you got crazy schedules. This was a real short window to get you in here and from Western Canada, and we really appreciate you coming on the IFAN podcast. Welcome aboard.
No, thank you. Thanks for having me, you two. I'm looking forward to this, and anytime, I've kind of reconnected with the Islanders now in the last 2 years here now with the Islanders and the Rangers, but it's been a real blessing, and I guess just circling back and get to see a lot of my old teammates has been nothing but positive things happening, since I've been able to reconnect with a lot of the guys. So it's amazing.
So you're out in Saskatchewan. That's where you're from. You were born out there. I believe it was St. Louis is your hometown. Are you still out there?
Yeah,
or somewhere else?
No, my hometown where I grew up is a little town of. It's called St. Louis, it's Saint Louis. It's the French thing,
Okay.
Métis community, and it's a town of probably like 450 people, and but I live in a city. It's called Saskatoon, and here our population is about 400,000, and it's not it's a big enough city that you can keep yourself busy, but it's still pretty small compared to being in New York and in even like St. Louis. It's a little different. It's just the hustle and bustle is not the same. We like, for instance, tonight I was driving my horses on the highway or in the neighborhood giving my rides. So you do see horses every now and then on the road.
That's
kind of like Central Park, maybe.
Yeah, right. You can get a job there real quick if you came out. Oh, they still have it. I don't know. I think they killed that industry over here too. But
yeah.
So nowadays, you're doing stuff with horses out there these days. What are you up to?
Well, there's a few things I've kind of got on my plate. You have to acknowledge me as Prez, I guess, because I am a president of Local 126, which is our Métis, as a Métis government. So we have, like, if you look at in Saskatchewan, we have our provincial, then we have our federal government, but we have. Now what's happening in Saskatchewan is our Métis Nation, in which I am Métis, considered half-breed. I'm part French, part Cree, and a little bit of everything, but I'm considered, my culture is Métis. And so I'm president of one of the locals, so that keeps me really busy, getting involved with, our government and trying to move things forward. As Bryan and I together have reconnected, Trotz and I, we started a program called Inspire 365 in partnership, which we presented to the NHL last February, and we found out on it was actually April 1st of last year, a year ago, that the NHL for the first time ever was going to be giving the use of the shield, which is the logo. And so we presented to the NHL. We went in and had a presentation about our program, and the program is all on mental health and wellness. It's about getting and it's all cultures of whether you be color of skin. It could be Métis, First Nation, non-Indigenous, and the whole thing is about getting kids active again and basically involved in sports. And we're using hockey as our springboard, but really it's all sports, just getting kids active. We'll do so we go to we did a pilot project here about 3 weeks ago, and I can probably share some pictures with you guys here after. And so part of that project of being part of Inspire 365 is to, with the NHL support, with Métis Nation, our government, is to bring not only cultures together, but reconciliation, There's been a real push here for just getting more people involved at all different cultures and races. And so Bryan and I, together with a lady by the name of Brandy Bell, have come together and are, when we presented to the NHL, we didn't know that they had never let like they have people that get involved with them. Not ever do they ever just say, here, go use our shield and raise dollars. So they gave us that. Plus, so they gave us opportunity to, with all the 6 NHL teams in Canada, plus all their major sponsors who we're going to present our business plan. And our whole goal is to raise the principal amount of money. The goal is like 10 million in principal. Then use the interest only to help kids and teams go on, like especially with the pressures now of so many parents. And I don't want to, like, a lot of parents in our area, some of them are are getting second mortgages just to keep their kids involved in that elite level. And that's really what we want to help those kids too, because the if we raise 10 million and we have $1 million to give away to families and individuals, with the help of the NHL being part of that board, we'll have boxes that you got to check, financially where you're at, stuff like that. And the whole thing is just basically to get kids more involved, grow the game of hockey. And on the third part with myself and Brandy, obviously Bryan with his 7 Stanley Cups, when we did our first pilot project, I was like, what am I going to talk about after following him? Like, seriously, he's got 7 Stanley Cups. So I was like, so we've got a Stanley Cup replica that we have that's in our possession now. It's actually at my house. It's so there's 2 Stanley Cups, and I never won it, so I didn't know any of this stuff. And Bryan, there's 2 of them, and one never leaves the Hall of Fame except for those big events. And the one that they obviously bring around to the team gets trashed pretty good. And it went from being like whatever poundage to like almost 70 pounds now. So no one can really lift it over their head. So when Bryan talked about this replica, I was like, well, that's kind of like, I don't know about that. Like, I'd want to see the real one. Kind of, that's what I was thinking, especially not ever touching the real one. I'm like, I'm going to touch the real one for sure. So we got this replica, and I was at first going, Bryan said to me too, Trot said, he goes, Rich, I'm telling you, he goes, even if we got one of them, we're not allowed to touch it. Like it's roped off. Like you really don't get the real sense of lifting it over your head and feeling like a champion, right? That's the words he was using. And bringing that Stanley Cup to these northern communities, we did Lac La Ronde Indian band here in Saskatchewan. So we did 6 First Nations. That's part of Lac La Ronde Indian band in Saskatchewan. And we did these over 5 days. Was a little bit quick, but it was our pilot, kind of our testing the waters. And we went through probably, I think Bryan said we were doing the numbers, I think about 800 kids, all off of like reservations, really. And the Stanley Cup, like the replica, was first star. Like the smiles this thing brought to people, the moments of healing that even I went through on talking on my own personal and suicide and my recover of getting to where I am today. It was an amazing 5 days of healing for Bryan and I. Bryan, when he comes to Saskatoon now, he stays at my house. And here's a guy that I looked up to, was my idol, one of my idols. Got to play with him for 2 years there in the early 80s or late 80s, I mean, and just a gem of a guy, an all around just awesome dude. And we chuckle because as I get to know him, I got some pretty wild stories, and he never got to hear all those wild stories when we played together. I didn't even have them yet; they were just in the makings, I guess. And so there's a thing here in Saskatoon, and his name is Paul Harvey. This guy's a radio guy called Paul Harvey. You guys can maybe Google him, but he has a thing. He says before his show, he's not on anymore, but he goes, and now for the rest of the story.
That's right.
Bryan gets it. Yeah. Bryan gets in my truck, and I'm always I tell him the story, but I don't tell him all of it. Then the next time we get on the road, we get on a road trip like this last, I go, Trot, there's more to that story I got to tell you. And he goes, so he gets in my truck one day. He goes, and now for the rest of the story. So we've had an amazing, yeah, it's been amazing for me, and just getting to know, and him getting to know me, and to watch, as we do these talks. Like there's a lot of, when I do these talks and I go to places that are real hard sometimes, when you bring up the word suicide and cocaine and alcoholic, especially in these northern communities, it's tough already. But getting to see tears of even Bryan, when he's hearing my story, and as I got after following him the first time around, I was like, he's got 7 Stanley Cups. Like, what am I going to say? I've got 0. So the first community we did in Stanley Mission, Saskatchewan, I went to the cup and I was like telling the kid, like, you're going to see someone here for the first time ever, and it's me actually lifting the Stanley Cup, the replica, but it's the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
And I end up lifting it, and the kids went nuts. They were like, because this was my first time, which it felt amazing actually. So then the second time I go, well, that's now old news. Now what am I going to say? And now I'm in like Grandmother's Bay, Saskatchewan, a community of 1,200. I'm like, now what am I going to say? Like, I can't do that anymore. I touched it. So I do this little thing where I go, how many Stanley Cups do you think I have? And the kids all go, 7, because Bryan and I played with Bryan. And Bryan's like, and I'm like, yeah, no, I go like down. So they get down to 1 and I put my hand out. And they're like, 1? And I go, and they go 0. And they all like, wow, like they can't believe. And this one little kid in Grandmother's Bay goes, it's okay. It's okay. Like, it was so cute, right? So cute. And so those are all moments that I've been able to share with Bryan. And, as we worked the first time working together, honestly, like, right, we don't know how it's going to go. And honestly, the words Inspire 365 is all about inspiring people, adults, young people, just to give them a little bit of more hope and giving them a little bit more. So, you know what? It is okay we all have struggles. We never know what people are going through. And I always tell people this, like when I tell my story, because I open up to my vulnerability of, cocaine to suicide to affairs, and not proud of any of those things, but they're real life things for me. And I did a thing in New York, and I'm going to give a shout out to Newsmax New York, a guy by the name of Lauren Emery, and John, the host. Big Daddy goes on his show, I think, Richie Salgado, who's a really good friend of mine. And anyways, so Lauren and I became friends. And do you guys know anything about Lauren Emery? Have you ever heard that name?
Oh, we heard through Newsmax. Yeah, Newsmax is big out here.
Okay, so so Lauren, I did a show on, and I'll send you the show that I did with John if you guys want it. I'll send it to you guys.
Sure.
Anyway, so I got to meet Lauren, and Big Daddy introduced me to Vince off of. We did a thing, just to kind of on the stock at the stock market, like the exchange, I guess, like on the floor. Okay. We did a show there, myself and Bryan, with Vince, the host. We had the Métis sash, we had everything. We were bringing basically Saskatchewan and New York about reconciliation, and through that, Big Daddy, who's a really good friend of mine, introduced me to Lauren. And this is where I'm going with Lauren. Basically, I meet Lauren. Daddy's like, listen, here he is. Your job is to basically build a relationship with him if there's one to be built. And honestly, Lauren and I hit it off. We were like, I went down to Newsmax, got to watch him produce. So as I'm telling him stuff that I'm a suicide, and telling more of my story, the small town Saskatchewan boy going to New York and everything else, and just turning into at times a runaway. He said to me, and this is what stuck with me. He goes, Rich, he goes, I know you don't have any Stanley Cups, but he goes, after listening to you and getting to know you for this, like, he goes, your Stanley Cup is being above ground, walking, being part, like your story. That's a Stanley Cup that's the biggest one you could ever have and still be alive. So he goes, even though you don't have that one, the hockey one, he goes, your Stanley, and that stuck with me. And Lauren is a really genuine, humble person, like just a great human. And here's just to give him a little bit more of a shout out, because he is an amazing dude. I invited him and his wife to the Ranger game. I got tickets for them and Daddy, and there's like 8 of us that went, and you know, comped them all, and just kind of it was a thank you for bringing me on his show. Did his show on the Sunday. I see him at the rink, later, and he's like, "Geez, but you're actually not bad on the TV." He goes, "You're really good." And I'm like, "Well, what else is he gonna say?" Like that's what I'm thinking in my head, like right, like. Anyway, so I'm like, "Yeah, okay." Daddy saved the Richie, like, so God, Big Daddy's like, "Man," he goes, "I didn't know you were like that." He goes, "You're actually not bad." He's like, "Great," and I'm going, "Okay, yeah, I don't know, like I'm just trying to be myself, probably more than anything." Anyways, I'm sitting beside Sophia, Lauren's wife, and she goes to me, you know, they show at the Rangers sometimes they show like the producers and actors are there and they do a shout out to him on the jumbo. So
Yeah.
Sophia I'm sitting right beside her. They've gone to win to grab a couple beers, whatever. And I'm sitting beside her and she goes, "Did Lauren tell you anything about himself?" And I'm like, "No, not really. Like she goes, but you guys have been walking and talking, you're hanging out like every day." And I made a joke. I like, "Well, we're talking about girls," like I said, right? She's like, "Oh yeah, really?" Like kind of like, and we started laughing. She goes, "But he told you nothing." I said, "No, like what?" She goes, "Well, maybe they should put him on the jumbo." I'm like, "Oh, I don't know." I said, "I don't know the protocol. The girl Jacqueline that deals with this, maybe next time." I said, "I don't know, like what they do to get them up there." She goes, "He didn't tell you anything?" I go, "Like what?" She goes, "He's won 4 Emmys as a producer."
Wow.
He's like, "Yes." Wow. So
It's
he
like when,
comes back and he didn't tell me a soul. So he comes back and I go, "Really, 4 Emmys?" And he looks at his wife and he goes, "Sophia." He hides it. He hides his thing because I went to his house or his apartment or his condo, and he doesn't bring him out. He leaves it in the bedroom. Amazing man, great guy. Him and John, the host, even like John, the host, he's awesome too. Like just good people to know, people that I'll be friends with for the rest of my life, probably. I know I will be. They're just,
that's great.
we still talk to them. So pretty cool stuff. So anyways, through all that, he's brought acknowledgement to Inspire. The whole thing that Bryan and I are doing together kind of brought that to the front. Just a lot of good things that we've been able to be. I feel so fortunate, at 57 years old now, and kind of, the father at time that you start, I guess this is the age where you start looking back at things and going, Jesus, like really, what have I done with my life? Right. And I've been really, God bless with there's a lot of things that I got a good spiritual side to me. I got a family, I've got a daughter, I've got a son that's still playing pro. He's in the Ottawa Senators organization. And so I'm, my happy guy. Honestly, I can pinch myself now today that, I'm in a good place. Life still gets hard some days, but really at the end of the day, I'm just fortunate to be able to enjoy things. My horses, I get to meet up with the guys that, a couple of years ago, just seeing Mick again and everybody. I was really nervous to go back to New York because that's where my drinking really started. When I tell people like for me, my young story, which you guys probably don't know. So if I look at my life as a hockey player and how it all came to, I guess, flourishing and how it all ended up being where it was, at 15 years old, I was playing old timer and rec hockey in my little town of St. Louis. And if you'd asked any, I wasn't very big yet. People would have said that, asked me like, if you're going to play in the NHL, there's no way. I was playing rec hockey with 35, 40-year-olds. And I got an opportunity at 16. I was a forward to play with a midget, like a U18 team. And I went to that camp basically as a kind of just an invite. My dad was owed a favor or something. And I was going to get cut. I was an extra forward. And a defenseman hurt his knee in the first exhibition game. And he was a carded player, which I knew nothing about at that time. And ended up basically, just 1 second here, guys. Sorry, I want my truck to shut off. Basically, when he got hurt, the coach looked at me. I was an extra, asked me if I'd go back and play D for the rest of the game. I said, yeah, I would. And then after the game, his name was Gary Pochpinski, said to me, he goes, listen, we're going to check in on that player because he was a carded kid, which I didn't know. I just said, okay, whatever. I didn't know what that meant. And he goes, if he's injured, we'll put you at defense tomorrow because he goes, we may have a spot on the back end. And I just said yes to everything.
Oh,
And ended with that.
well, hell yeah, right?
Yeah. So then I come back for the exhibition game. That kid actually blew his knee out. So he was done. So now they have a spot. I play the next game as a D-man. And right after the game, he comes up to me, he goes, we got that spot. He goes, we'll give it to you. He goes, you made our team as a D-man. And that was the start of my career. So basically barely making a midget treat. I tell kids this, so I barely made a midget AAA at 17. I end up getting listed back then. There's a draft now. I get listed by the Prince Albert Raiders, which is our Tier 1 junior hockey league, WHL here, Western Hockey League in Saskatchewan. And I make the Raiders at 17 as a seventh defenseman. So Mr. Terry Simpson, who coached the Islanders,
Yeah.
right? He was the coach. He brings me into his office and he says, listen, you made our team you're going to be a seventh man on the back end, but you're going to play half the games. And I looked at him, I said, I don't get to play every game. And he was like, and my dad was in there. We knew nothing. It's like and I tell this because the ignorance, not ignorance, I don't want to say ignorance, not really knowing a pecking order, not, now as my, with my background of hockey, I watched my son's I had a pecking order for a lot of things, right? With him, other kids, being in the coaching world. So I knew none of that. My family knew none of that. My dad coached me till I was 13, 12 years old in cowboy boots. Never had skates. He came on the ice in cowboy boots. So again, what are your chances of making the NHL, Rich? Not very good. So Coach Simpson tells me this, and I go, well, I don't play every game. He goes, no, but you practice with us. We're going to develop you. I go, do I have to play for you? And he goes, well, you made our team. I go, well, so I don't have to play for you? And he goes, well, no. I said, okay, then I'm going to go back and play midget. And he goes, well, maybe we'll send you like a different junior to play against men. And I'd now grown. Now I was like just over six, almost 6'1". And I'm like, no, I'll just go back and play midget. And he was like, yeah, okay, then didn't know what to say. Like, I just made a junior team that I didn't take the spot. So I go back and play midget. And do you guys know that about getting drafted out of midget? You guys know that at all or no?
I heard
So
I'm to get to that. You got drafted by the Islanders and then you heard about it by phone call or something?
Well, here's what happened. So I'm one of two players to ever get drafted out of a U18 midget midget trips. So there's myself and a guy by the name of Brett. There might be another guy now. I think there might be, but there's only one. There's two or three of us. So I never played any junior hockey, really. I played my max, I was affiliated with the Raiders. I got called up when there was an injury. In playoffs, some of these stories are coming to me now, but so, like the Black Aces, they call when you get called up, right? So I just found this out this last summer. So we did a thing in Regina, Saskatchewan for the Scouts, a fundraiser for the Scouts because they don't have any post-retirement Scouts funds. So we did a huge thing, an Indigenous thing on reconciliation. So there was a bunch of Scouts there. So after the event, they were all having beers, whatever. I'm not drinking, but I'm hanging out with them. And they brought up when I got drafted because all of a sudden, because I wasn't in junior, I was in midget AAA. They were getting calls from their GMs to go check out this Pilon guy that was playing for the Raiders. They had to hurry. They were all like, this guy might get drafted.
Wow.
Right? So they all show up, but I was playing left wing. I wasn't a defenseman. I was playing on the third line, and I was basically running guys. But I didn't play the first, we went far in midget. When I got called up to play against Medicine Hat Tigers, this year's the year the Tigers won it. Well, I'd never been on water slides. So when I went to Medicine Hat, after I was a Black Ace, I practiced. I would go water sliding the whole afternoon till game time because I wasn't playing. I show up on the bus, and this Rick Wilson, who was the assistant coach, goes to me, "You're playing tonight, left wing." I had just been water slide for like 2 days straight, skating and by myself because I'd never been on a water slide, right? And I ended up playing left wing. So then the story, we lost out, played well, hurt my knee, and had a bit of an MCL. Not even at home during the draft, not watching the NHL draft. We were in a little town called Big River, Saskatchewan, doing our rodeo things that our family did. We did a lot of horse stuff. And my dad called my sister and asked her, just checked in at home, in our hometown. And she goes, yeah, somebody called from New York. They said Rich got drafted to the NHL. And my dad's like, well, no, he didn't. She goes, they left a number. My sister's like, he's supposed to call them. But we don't have a credit card, nothing. So we made a collect call to the Islanders from this little town, Big River. And Joanne Hollowa, who's been with the Islanders forever, she took the collect call. She was an intern. And she was like, who? And I kept trying to tell the operator, hey, it's Rich Pilon. She was like, who? Like, then she's like, just give me a second. Then all of a sudden, Mr. Torrey came on the line. And then Mr. Torrey said, yeah. He goes, well, accept it. I talked to Bill, and he goes to me, like, I was such, like, just so naive. He goes, you had a bit of an MC, you got your knee injury? I said, yeah. I said, I heard it, but he goes, okay, we're going to fly you out to New York next week to check on your knee. I'm like, no, it's good. He's like, no, Rich, we're going to fly you out. I said, yeah, no, but it's good. I said, you don't have to, I'll see you at camp. And I'm like, I got to go. He's like, no. Whoa, you're not going anywhere. He goes, I got to talk to you. And he was like trying to, so I'm like, well, what do you need to see? It's an MCL. And he goes, yeah, we want to make sure you're okay. I said, it's going to be okay. And he goes, Rich, no, we're like flying you out. I'm like, really? Listen, Mr. Torrey, I don't want to fly. He goes, I've never flown and I'm scared. And he goes to me, well, you're going to have to fly to camp, so you better get on a plane sooner or later. You're sure not driving here. So then I ended up they ended up booking me a flight, and I was like, God, I remember like getting on that plane, and I was like watching my mom pray the rosary outside on her knees by the truck. I think I'm not going to make it. Like, I actually think I'm going to die in a plane crash. I land in Toronto, see all these black people. I'm like, oh boy, I see a lot of Indians, but I didn't see any black people ever. Then I land in New York, and there's more black people, and I'm like, oh boy. I'm like, I'm scared now. Like the whole movie, like I was such a naive, but just and nothing bad about just fear of everything, right? And Terry Simpson was now the coach, so there's kind of the, that's why I got drafted. Terry said, listen, there's a basically Terry always called me a throwback right back then, right? You're a throwback of a player. You, just did anything the coach will ask, which I did. To this day, that's how I'm just wired. Al Arbor, little story about Terry. If you guys know anything about Terry, he was, his thing was just his timing was at the wrong time. He took a team that was just off of so many Stanley Cups, and there was still a lot of loyalty. He was trying to have a change of guard. He didn't treat the older players with probably the respect that he should have. Not, but then they weren't buying in. So like there was so many things that he had no chance.
Yeah.
He had no chance. You got, and Bryan and I talked about this, and Bryan just said, I said, so if he would have just let you guys run the show, then what? I go, right? You know what I mean?
Mm.
He liked Brent. He liked Pat Flatley. He liked Bobby Basson because, Bossy and Potvin were like, who the hell are you? What have you won? You know what I mean? That's really what happened. And he didn't manage. Terry did a terrible job managing it, honestly, but because he had a way of winning that he had a template of it at the junior level that he tried to replicate at the NHL level, and the NHL wasn't ready for that yet. right?
Mm.
And so all of a sudden Al Arbor comes back, and Al Arbor is actually who made me kind of to Terry got me the opportunity, and you have to when an opportunity comes, you got to be ready for it, which I was. But Al Arbor actually molded me into the defenseman that I became, and could have been better. I think that's one of my things. I think when I look at all like the really good players that that I played with, like the Turgeons, Brian, Flatley, Sutter. Those players are wired differently than for me. I was wired in a way that I worked really, really hard, paid a price, would throw myself in front of anything, but then I played hard away from the game. I could have been better. I believe that. I know that. And I tell my son that all the time. I go, I could have been a better. I said, I was wearing an A for a lot of my career. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
I remember when they brought me in, they were going to make me captain, and it was going to be me or Brian McCabe. And they brought me in, and when they had the conversation with me, I made a joke in there like, these are my options. And then Mike just said, it's good. Get the hell out. We'll talk to you later. And I was joking. So then because they were basically telling me, listen, we know you run the team, but we want Brian to be the guy, but we're going to give it, like, that's really what they were telling me. And I made a joke like, well, I don't have any other options. And they're like, well, yeah, you have other options. You're going to wear an A and Brian's captain. Talk to you later, Rich. See you later. Oh, not a time to joke, but that was my right. So if I look back, that was in a way, it also told them I had a fucking problem. Because putting the ball, because with that,
the way you were wired, right? Because
because now
they
I
took
was
you.
unwilling to. Yeah, now it was like, well, geez, it's more important to have fun and everything else. And what is it really? And it really, when I look back, like, that's things that I could have been better, but I can't change any of that. Like, I can have, like, regrets are joking about the captaincy, which is no joke. And I tell this, well, you make mistakes. That life is about mistakes. When you have that big regret, like, okay, drunk driving and killing somebody, you can't turn back time.
Right.
I'm still fortunate in a way that I've got a lot of good things that are still happening to me, but I sometimes think about lots of the things that I could have been better. I wish I would have just done things differently. And I tried to pass that on to my son, who's honestly, he's the exact opposite of me. He's dialed in. He's not as mean as me. And that's what kind of, I think, he does a lot of things good, but he doesn't, to me, he's a 200-foot player. He's got 40, he's got 47, 48 points a season, which is pretty good in the minors. But he should be at 50 or 60 because he goes in stretches of like 7 to 8 games without getting a point, which is really not good if you're a goal scorer. You know what I mean? He led Ottawa a year ago. He was second last year. This year, it's been a bit of a shit show for him. Just management there is not great. I thought having Travis Green there might have helped my kid a bit, but honestly, with the way the game is, it's really hard for him, which I feel bad for him in a little way. But because he'd be a better pro player than he is a minor league player because he thinks the game so well, right? And at the minor, it's hard playing in the minors because it's a bit of a fire drill, right? So, yeah, but overall, I think I wish I would have done things a little bit differently on my end for the Islanders. And even with the Rangers, when I signed with the Rangers, I just was not, I don't know what it was. I'm just wired differently where I'm not afraid of anything. You know what I mean? And I push boundaries. I push players. And Al taught me this. This is one of the things Al Arbor taught me. He'd come up to me in practice, and people, and even Derek King told my son this just the other day, because Derek King's coaching in Hershey. So Garrett played Hershey here just on the weekend. And he goes, Dad, he goes, I talked to Derek and I said, hello. And Kinger said hi to me. And he goes, and he talked to me. He goes, yeah, he goes, your dad used to run me in practice. And the reason I used to run him is because Al taught me that when we were winning, or when we were winning, guys got inflated, right? So he would come up to me and be like, and then I just did it. He would be like, hey, wake up, Kinger, wake up, Ray Ferraro. They're getting me. Okay. So I'd go slew foot one of them, and all of a sudden they're competing again, right? Now they're competing.
It's a morph.
And Al always said to me, he goes, your best competition, and he says it has to be your teammates. And I told Garrett this. Garrett goes, well, Dad, the game's changed. They don't do that anymore. I said, Garrett, think about this. If you let off your guy in practice, are you being a good teammate? I'm not saying you have to run him. I'm saying keep him sharp, because in a game, that guy's not letting off. That's not about hurting him. It's about making him sharp. So player, you guys practice 45 minutes maybe, but can you not be sharp for 45 minutes? You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's really what I learned from Al. And then, you know, he was one of those guys. I remember when he took over the team, Al, I think I had 11 points or 9 points in 10 games, my first 11 games in the league. Then when he took over for the team, I went to the back of the bus. In practice, he would yell at me. He'd be like, Pilon's going to mess up this pass. Watch this. And I would mess it up. Go again. Pilon can't pass. I'm like, what did I do? What did I do to this guy for him to treat me like this? I remember going to Rick Wilson, and going am I going to get sent down to the minors? I feel like I can't play for this guy. And then Al came up to me one day after practice, and he says, brought me in. He goes, listen, kid. He goes, you will never, to me, be an offensive guy in this league. But he goes, if you want to learn the game to be a defensive shutdown, he goes, you like to punish guys. You like to actually hurt guys. I said, yeah. And he goes, if you want to learn the game defensively and you get to play with the number 1D or the number 2 guy, you'll always have a place in the league. He told me that. And I said, Al, just tell me what you want me to do. And he said to me, he goes, if they're the 2-on-1, it better be on you. And he goes, you're going to go from the goal line in our end to the blue line. And you're going to just be the last guy back. You're the last guy back all the time. And that's what I did.
Yeah,
you're going to go on the ice.
In that hard-nosed guy that you always were, that throwback. As fans, we used that term when you first came up to the team. You were throwback to the glory days, which weren't too far. You weren't too far removed from that. And I was wondering, back when you're talking about how you played your game back home before you came up to the pros, was that the way you played all along, or did you have someone like Al instill that in you, that hard-nosed, hard-hitting, take no prisoners type? Because, you sacrificed your body a lot, and it showed through your career. But you were just a wrecking ball out there. Was that your way of doing it, or did Al kind of mold you into that?
I think he molded me into more a defensive guy, because in junior I actually had I had points, right? But I always liked to hit. That's one thing that since I've been, even when I was really small, I was always I was a bit of a rat, honestly, when I was little. And then as I got to playing at the midget level, even my nickname was Hay Shaker. It went from, because of a bale of hay in my truck, to Shaker. But I always like to hit. Back to your question, I always like to hit. I like to punish guys. I like getting under people's skin. I don't talk a lot on the ice. I just try and hurt. When I hit, it's not just to hit, it's to hurt. And that's the difference. And that's always been in me like that. And Al molded me into a defensive guy, to blocking shots, and to be a first pass guy. And he did that with Darcy Regier, was an assistant coach, and Wills. But Darcy was the guy who basically went out 15, 20 minutes before everybody else showed up. And all I would do would be skate backwards, shoulder check, get a puck, and either Darcy was moving or he was a target on the half wall. So all those things became For me, people will be, oh, you're an off the glass guy. Nope. I was not an off the glass guy. I was a first pass guy, and that was my strength. And then what I learned as I played in my career with certain guys like Kenny Johnson and these guys, the best defensemen want the puck. Usually as a D-man, it's like get it up to the forwards, quick transition. So when I played with these guys, like with Kenny or even with Z, they'd be like, I'm like, do you want the puck? Or even Brian Leach. That's why I became such a good player, Brian Leach. Because when Leachy, like Kenny and these guys, they, as a D-man, they want the puck. So I'd be like, listen, it can be first pass up, or do you want it? They go, no, I want it. Okay, it's your puck. And I made sure they got the puck right away, right? So then they want to play with me because I give them the puck. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So that helps my career. And not that I'm riding their coattail, but I'm like, you just go, man. And I'm not going anywhere, right? So, that became one of my things why I got to play all the time. When they brought me to St. Louis was to play with Pronger or McInnes. Same thing.
Same
I'm
thing.
giving them they want the puck, right?
Yep.
The forwards, but guess what? When you're playing with the forwards that want the puck, that pisses them off, right? But I'm like, my loyalty is over there. Usually I played with a left-handed guy because I usually played my offside because of my eye injury too, right? Like, I don't even know if you guys know about the eye injury because nobody knew about that. I just started telling that story. Like, honestly,
Remember that? Yeah.
Nobody here knows that I got no vision in my right eye.
Oh, is that right?
We
You
didn't
didn't know
realize.
that?
I didn't realize you had no vision. I remember
What
the
happened?
injury. I remember the whole visor rule with getting into fights and having to take off the helmet and
Well,
all that
okay,
stuff.
so here's what happened. I played 8 games. No, 13 games. 13 games. It was 13, I believe, games of my second year. I take a slap shot in the face it's an eye injury though. And I have so I don't know how bad it is. And plus I'm still very naive. I believe everything you tell me. So the Islanders I'm seeing doctors. The Islanders are telling me that I'm actually going to be, they're going to, decide, because I got a 2-year plus an option. And they're like, we got to see at the end of the year, we're going to figure out what to do, and you're going to be okay. Meanwhile, I got no sense. So my vision is like it's 3,200 over 20. So I'm legally blind. I only have peripheral vision. So if I close my good eye, if I look at the phone, I don't see my phone, and it turns into a bigger dark spot as it farther away. It's like it gets bigger. I got a blind spot. So for me to play, I need doctor clearance. If I don't get doctors to sign off on my file, basically can't get insurance. So then the Islanders can't give me a contract. So the Islanders are telling me, kind of playing along, but I don't know this yet. You remember Dean Chanel?
Yes.
So Dean came, so he was my roommate, and he comes home one day and he goes, Rich, I think your career's over. I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, this was like in January. Like, I've now been out, and this is where I started to drink a little bit and kind of feel, go into the clubs a bit, because I couldn't do anything. Just because the Islanders weren't really telling me anything. They were just saying, let's just kind of, so I was working out, but I know I can't see on my right eye very good at all. Really, I can't do any eye test or nothing. And Dean goes, I was in the bathroom, and the management he goes, they didn't know I was in there, and they were talking about you. And they were saying how you're done. Because he goes, how many doctors have you seen? I said, 6. He goes, Rich, he goes, if you got nobody to clear you, you can't play. That's why they think you're done. And I find that all to be true. So here's where it gets all kind of like, this might go to a place where I'm going to tell you guys anyway, because I've been sharing this part of my story. So my aunt used to be a card reader, fortune teller.
Okay.
So here's where it gets really, I'm Catholic, and my great aunt, her name was Maria Vondal. She only spoke Cree and French, no English. So my family grew up with these readers, I would go see my aunt when I was younger. She always used to tell me my dream was always playing the NHL. She'd be like, I didn't tell her that, but that was my dream or my wish. And she's like, you're gonna play in that league. She had no idea what this league was. It's gonna be. She kept saying it's the best league ever. You're gonna play in that league. Well, it happened. So now right.
Yeah.
The year I left for New York, so I would go see her once. She was 98 years old, or mid 90s. I go see her, and she tells me, Rich, your eyes are really important. You better protect them. And I'm like trying to explain to her through my mom, who speaks, I understand French really well and some Cree, but I can't speak it at all. So I'm telling my mom to tell her basically, well, I fight, I play aggressive, I can't wear protection in my eyes. And she was adamant about my eyes. And then what happens? The eye injury. Now to where I was talking about the doctors, I called my mom and I say, Mom, can you call Auntie and tell me what she says? So this is what she tells me. Mom goes, you have to take your file and go find your own doctor away from the team, but you're going to play again. But you got to leave. You got to take that whole file and go elsewhere. So in all of New York City, I started looking for an eye doctor on my own and trying to find somebody with the help of Jackie, with my girlfriend at the time. She goes, just pick a doctor. I said, there's so many. Yeah. And I pick one. I go in. He does all my tests on me. Took me a couple weeks to get in. I'm a mess because I think my career's over. I'm like losing hope. I found out through Eddie, our trainer, yes, I need, but I got this little bit of sliver of hope from my auntie, right? I'm like, she says I'm going to play. Like she hasn't been wrong. So I go into this doctor. He does all my tests, has no idea who I am. Just that I have an eye injury. And we start talking about how it happened. I go, well, I said, Doc, you're my last hope. I play for the New York Islanders. I took a slap shot in the eye. And the reason I'm here is because I've had 6 other doctors unwilling to sign off on my file. And if I don't get a doctor like you to sign off on this file, I can't get a contract. My career's over. So you're like basically it. And he looks at me and he says, kid, you came to the right place. You know Wesley Walker?
Yes.
The New York Jets?
Jets.
The blind man. Yeah.
This doctor cleared Wesley Walker.
And you had no idea?
No idea.
Holy shit.
Doesn't that make you like hair stand up?
Yeah. Man.
It's amazing. It's actually amazing.
That's
wild. It's amazing. It's amazing.
And like you said, you had a pick from and you went, I'm going to go here.
Yeah.
You know,
did he do anything or he just signed off on you?
He signed off. I just needed a doctor to say I was okay to play. He goes, I didn't know who Wesley Walker was. I go, who's Wesley Walker? And he's like, well, he played in the NFL. He's with the Jets. He goes, I signed him off. I cleared him to play. Like, you can't make this shit up.
And an Islander fan.
My auntie got to him.
Yeah.
Came to him in a dream.
Anyways, so I've been telling these stories about these readers. So, like, I don't know if you guys believe in that because a lot of people don't. And there's a lot of crap out there, but you guys want to go down a little bit more of a hole because this is crazy.
Sure.
100%.
So I know it has, but this is more spiritual stuff about me, I guess, which is really kind of cool because nobody ever wants to talk about it because it's like, readers, really, you believe in that stuff? Well, I do, but you got to be so darn careful. So anyways, last June, so I've tried a reader and I'm like, this is bullshit. Like, I just gave that lady $150 for what? To give me an email? Fuck that. That's bullshit. I'm not doing this anymore. Auntie's gone. It's over. Whatever, right? I go to Yellow Quill First Nation, Saskatchewan, which is about 3 hours away from where I am at the reserve. I'm doing a cultural camp with my horses. I'm going to tell you the whole story because it's kind of cute. I'm in, like, we call older First Nation ladies Cookums. They're called Cookums. So this older First Nation lady she's meeting me, like I'm walking in the lobby, or not the lobby, in the hallway of the school, trying to figure out where I'm going, who I got to talk to. And then she walks by me, she goes, "Ooh, you gave me the chills." And I looked at her. Her name's Sylvia. Now I know, but at the time I didn't know her name. I go, "Oh," I said, "if you're hitting on me," I go, "you're really rocking the cradle." I go, like, right, because she was way older. And she starts laughing. Well, her name's Sylvia. She does Reiki, this massage thing. She's there for a cultural camp. She's from another Alberta, which is another community. It's called Hobima Makwachis. She's there doing her thing. Anyways, I said, "Oh, I'd like to try that Reiki stuff, that massage stuff with body, whatever." And anyway, she's like, "I'm booked, whatever. I can't see her." Long story short, I'm leaving on Sunday. I've been there 4 days. I'm tired. I want to get there. I want to go home. She stops me and goes, "I'm all loaded." And she's like, "I got half an hour if you want to come in." I'm like, "I'm going in." I go in. Anyway, she starts working on me, and I go, she talk about her kids. "What do your kids do?" She goes, "Well, I'm not sure if you believe it, but my daughter, she's a reader." I go, "Like, she reads cards?" And she goes, "Yeah." I'm like, "So I'm playing, like," I go, "You believe in that stuff?" She goes, "Well, Rich," she's like, "she's got a gift. It's a gift." And she never really embraced it till about 3-4 years ago. And she's really, really good. I go, "You know what? Give me your number. I'll try her." Maybe, I said, but I don't want. I go, "How do I do it?" She goes, "Well, you text her. All you do is tell her your first name." And she goes, "Whether you do it or not," she goes, "I won't, we don't talk about it." So I waited like a couple weeks before I sent the text, because I didn't want it to be right after this event. I send her a text. I do a setup. Her name's, so it's Sylvia's her mom. Leslie's the daughter. So she does like FaceTime, like she FaceTimes you so she can see her. And she's a First Nation lady out of Hobima, Makwachis First Nation. She starts doing the reading, and she's like, I'm like, "Holy crap." She's like, all she knows is my name is Rich. She goes, "You got a son and a daughter." She goes, "I don't know what you do." She goes, "But your son does kind of whatever you did or you used to do." She goes, and she, before she starts, she goes, "Don't say anything. I'm just going to talk." And I'm like listening to her, and she goes, "So whatever that is, he's in the same career. Either he used to do it, but he does it now," which is kind of, she goes, "Your daughter, you have an older daughter. She's the oldest." She goes, "It's playing. You're very, very close with her," which I am. She goes, "And she loves horses like you do. You guys love horses." I'm like, "Okay." Then she talked about me and my wife. She's hitting that on a nail. I'm like, "Holy crap." I'm like, this girl's like, I'm trying not to show emotion. I'm trying to be like stoic, right? Because she's hitting it. She's good. And then she goes, "Oh, Rich, you used to have a reader in your family. She's here."
Holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't make this shit up. And I go, "Yeah." Like, I'm like, she goes, like, "Do you mind asking who?" I said, "It was my aunt." She goes, "Yeah." She goes, she gave you something, but you don't use it anymore. That's the message she's trying to get me to you." Oh my God, guys. I was like, I wanted to cry. I was like, she goes, "Do you mind me asking what she gave you?" And I said, "No, I'll tell you. My aunt, when she passed, she was actually 100. She gifted me, or she wrote in her little notebook, to make sure that I got her rosary that she prayed with all the time, with a wooden rosary. It was wore out. 6 years ago, I put that rosary in the desk, said, "I'm not doing this anymore." I stopped praying the rosary, which I used to pray it pretty frequently. And I was kind of upset with a few things, so I put it in a drawer. And this is what Leslie's message to me was from her. Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
That is amazing, man.
That is crazy.
So amazing.
Yeah.
And so Leslie and I now, so what Leslie really is, I would call her a spiritual coach. It's not someone where if you truly believe in God, you want to, like, you hand it over and you trust that things happen. But she's more, what she's done for me is I'm a spiritual person to begin with, but it's also got me back to the rosary, which I believe in. I used to believe in, and I believe it even more now. But it's also, she's gotten me to be starting to be a little bit like, unselfishly, I felt like I was always like, I'm a good person. Like I'm not a bad person. I try and do, most times I want to do what's right. And I've got empathy for people. I feel for people. I don't ever, but then I had these affairs. So this is where I kind of get into the good and the bad or the ugly, whatever you want to call it, where with, in a marriage, you cheat on your wife and you do this, but then you're saying you're a good person, but you know what I mean? Like, I go to church, but you cheat. It's like, and what she's teaching me is to be, she goes, Rich, and it's true in my whole life. So I don't have memories of, I've been through trauma with my, the way I was brought up. I was brought up in a very iron fist home. And so I have no memory of like anything from 12 and under. So I always ask people like, what's your earliest memory? Like, and people tell me like 5 years old. I'm like, what? I don't say anything, but I'm like, how do people remember 5 years old? I can't remember anything before 12.
Yeah.
And so my memories are all of my, look, so my parents did the best they could. Like my parents are both still alive. They did what they tried. They thought they just did whatever the tools they were given from their families to somewhat wasn't the best tools. And those tools were passed on to us as family. And they're better than they were with their family. So my kids got a better hope of being brought up a different way. I stopped drinking. But my sisters used to like I was always worried my mom was going to kill my dad, blah, blah, blah. So there's all these things I don't have these memories. And what Leslie said to me, she goes, if you remember, she goes, what would it change? Like, it wouldn't change it. What would it change? I said, well, nothing. She goes, exactly. So if you remember, great. And if you don't remember, great. But like, really, ever since then with Leslie, I've kind of moved into this other place and she said to me, and she's right, I've never been selfish. Selfishly in different ways to get my fix, whether it be coke, alcohol, an affair, but I still don't get what I truly want sometimes because I'm always I'm a fixer, right? I don't want anybody to be upset, but then I'll upset you know what I mean? So it's really kind of odd. And I'm trying to be better at that. Like now, even though I have stuff going on, I'm trying to be, even with Bryan, how do I, if I truly want to be happy, what's my path? If I truly want to be happy, there's people that are probably going to be hurt. But then am I willing to give that, you know what I mean? Like whether it be my kids, Jackie and I are still married, but is it great? Yeah, it's okay. But it's not like, are you growing together? Are you growing apart? Where are we really in our relationship? You know what I mean? Like, so those are things I'm learning now at 57 years old going, holy crap. So what do I need for me? Because I love helping people. I love doing good with all these young people and telling my story and hoping somebody learns from me. But I'm still not probably getting what I want. And if I do go after what I want, then I'm probably going to there's going to be change. And that's going to be hard for people. Right. And what I'm learning with this, Leslie's like I would say like I don't want to say a psychologist, because she's actually more of a spiritual coach. She's actually giving me a little bit of confidence it's okay to be alone and not be married, maybe. You know what I mean? Like it's okay to, how many friends do we really have at 57? I don't know. I don't have a lot. I talk to my horses every day. They're my friends. But honestly, like how many, like, as you grow older, you have way less friends. And I've reconnected with a lot of my good friends in hockey, but those are like one-offs here, every 2 or 3 times a year. But true friends, I probably got none. Honestly, I've got none. And it's not a bad thing. It's just, it's okay. You know what I mean?
Realization, right? And then you try to work off that. I think this Leslie person that you're talking about, and I think it's a good way that you describe it as a coach, because number one, you're used to that kind of whole thing for your hockey life. But Ray and I were raised Catholic as well, and we can relate to your spiritual journey. But I think, a spiritual coach like that can also make you realize that, yeah, good people sometimes do things that aren't all that great. And again, when you look at it from that spiritual sense or that religious sense, it's learning from it and acknowledging it, looking for forgiveness, and then repenting, right? And
Yeah,
just
yeah,
don't
yeah,
do that more, and then you're proving that you're sorry, right?
yeah,
It's tough
yeah.
sometimes, but you're right. You're right on though.
Yeah, no, it's an amazing, and it's a journey. Honestly, life is a journey, and it's not going to be. There's going to be ups and downs, and nothing gets easier as you get older because the body starts to, your body changes, and you know, I always, I tried to take my life. So with the car accident, didn't work. Like, right, thank God.
Right.
Then I had both of my hips done. Right, I both of my hips done here. So in 23, then I almost died with my one because I had such a bad staph infection.
Oh, geez.
And I'm like, he doesn't even, I'm like, because I had 3 surgeries within like 2 months. No, sorry, June, like with the July 18th. From July 18th, I had a surgery, then August 30th and September 14th on the same hip. And on the last one, my blood was way down. My kidneys were, everything was starting to fail, and I ended up fighting back. And basically, but there's a couple weeks I don't even remember because of being so weak. Right, my blood was down to like 40. I think it's 70 to do a blood transfusion, but they didn't do that because of I had stabilized, right? So I believe I'm here for more than just my back to my Stanley Cup, telling my story, trying to help people the best I can when I can, right? Um, my mental health is probably more with my horses, and so what I get with the horses, I've learned in so things happen the way they're supposed to. Have the surgery that go down a rabbit hole. I meet a guy by Warwick Schiller, a horse trainer. He's changed my theory on training, and it's all about relationship before horsemanship. And now what I've learned with my horses is that it's amazing when people see me where even like now they see me work with them. I've learned to communicate with them. And I learned that because of Warwick. And it's not that but I speak their language because of I know their tells now when they're putting up boundaries. And when you start respecting anybody's boundaries, what happens? You gain trust, respect.
Yeah,
You're not
acceptance.
pushing it, acceptance. Well, now these horses, like my horses, I've got 11. And the best, I wish I wanted, I'm gonna make this summer. I thought about it. I'm not sure what to do yet. When I go in my pen in the summertime, I have 2 pens. There's about 7 and 1, and then I've got some other borders there. So there's about 8, but my pen is 7. When I walk in there, there's anything from a 1 year old to like maybe 3 or 4 year olds. They're younger. They come up and they actually lay down. They will like, I take a chair and I read and I have my coffee there early in the mornings. Try to do that at least two twice a week for sure, sometimes 3. And I end up basically, um, they start coming and laying around me. It's unbelievable. And they actually, because they trust me. So I ride horses now. Like I get on my horse. I just rode a horse on Saturday. Never been ridden before, except I sat on him at the barn, like just sitting around. I was in a small town doing my horse stuff. The girl that helps me we're driving. I'm like, I'm getting on this horse. I think he's going to be fine. Rode this horse first time ever. Followed the wagon, just kind of trying to break. He's a young one, 2 year old, but like, so they trust me now. And all this stuff that happens, this trust that I'm doing with them has brought me patience because you have to be really patient with them. So where does that transpire? Back into your real life, right? I've noticed
Yeah.
that. So even with the stuff that I'm dealing with, some of this, I got a business that I'm the startup. It's a grind. Some days are easy. Some days are hard, and they're more hard days right now. But I'm learning honestly, at the end of the day, today matters the most. Talking to you guys is the most important thing right now, right?
Mhm.
And everything else is going to happen as it will tomorrow, or what's happened's done. That's done. So yeah, so it's kind of been a real neat for me journey on everything I've been doing. It all comes back to hockey, though, and I tell this a lot of time with people. All my relationships that I have today are hockey related, whether it be kids I coached when I came back here to reconnecting with Brian, to Pat, to Mick, Darius, even all these guys. We kind of, when we see each other, we just leave where we left off. There's not this like okay, feeling out period. Where are we at? No, it goes right to where you left off, which is amazing, right? And that's one of the things. Even seeing Mick, like Mick and I don't stay in contact like a lot, like we should probably. I feel bad about that sometimes because Mick's a good guy. He's a hard worker. He's only got 4 or 5 wives, not a big deal.
Which kind
But
of bring that should bring up Mick, because we had him on last month, and speaking about the horses, he told a story about how you got him to invest in some horses, but
oh
it
yeah,
didn't pan out too well.
But it worked out, did it?
I
no,
was just
we
curious.
didn't really lose money though. We didn't like lose, but it was like it
Sounded
was
to me like the way he told it. It sounded to me like you guys kind of lost out because the horses.
It's like you cared about it more than you did.
oh yeah, he totally did. Did he ever tell you his first riding story? We went riding. We used to go riding on the island together.
No,
Can you talk about that?
No.
Oh my
What
God.
happened?
We used to go. I don't know if you know Keith Hart. You ever hear that name? Hart Agencies in Long Island.
No.
So like like the Rose girls and all the shooter girls in the pictures back in the day.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
The guy's name's Keith Hart. Hart Agencies, right? So I used to my first year pro, just to kind of backtrack, because he's the guy we used to go riding with. So across from the island, there used to be a bar called Champions, I think it was, or something like that, from the Coliseum,
Marriott? Yeah.
right by the just up the road there. There was just like
Oh, the salty dog?
was it Salty Dog? It was right across from like basically right from the island, from the Coliseum,
Yeah.
on that Merrick Road or whatever that road is. I don't remember. Anyways, so I used to go in there. I was like 20 years old. Like I wasn't even of age. And I'd go sit have a burger and a pop. I wasn't even drinking. And this guy at the bar would be talking about the Islanders, and he was talking about me though. Like he'd be talking to me about me. And I was like, he goes, yeah, there's a Pilon on this team too. He goes, that guy, he goes, I love watching that guy. And I never said a word. I'd just be eating away. And I'm like, oh yeah. And I'd go back. I'd go in there for a break. Well, it was Keith Hart. So we became friends. Then he was telling me back then, he goes, I'm going to start this thing. He goes, I think there's a real where you can sell flowers in the bar, sell shooters, get these hot girls to do it. That's what he did. That's him. Hart Agencies. If you look it up, it's amazing. It's whole, like he's got his own plane now. This guy. Oh yeah. Nuts.
A lot of shots.
Anyways, so we used to go riding with Hardy. So we'd go to a place on the island. I can't remember the name of that place. It was a riding. Basically, you show up and you get a horse. So because Keith knew the people at the farm, he loved horses too. He goes, we'll take Mick and we'll all go. I'll bring some of the girls with us. They'll come riding, right? We all go. There's like 6 of us. So they start bringing out the horses. And they asked me, well, I'm a good, like I ride. So they bring my horse out. It's like Black Beauty. Like just a nice, beautiful horse. Hardy gets a nice horse. Well, they get the Mick, and Mick's like, he goes, no, I'm a beginner. They bring out Mr. Ed, this white, ugly, shaggy, and Mick looks at us and he goes, really?
Pony farm.
He goes like, this thing's ugly. Like he's like, oh my God. So we get on the horses, and as soon as we get out of sight of the barn, we start loping, not running, but just loping and running a bit, right? Like a gallop. Fuck, we're like, where's Mick? There's like 5. We're all gone. We can't. It's kind of windy. We're like, where's Mick? So we stop, and he comes around the corner, and this horse is trotting like really fast. And Mick's just, you don't size the Mick, and he's just bouncing, and he's like, this horse won't run. I'm like, hit him with your lines, like get him to run, like kick him. He goes, I'm trying. I'm like, well, okay, just try again. Do we take off again? He's way behind, trotting. He goes, I can't make this horse run. I go, I said, you want to switch? He goes, really? I said, yeah. I said, I'll ride that one. So he gets on mine. I get on him, on his horse, Mr. Ed. This horse won't run. It was a fast trot, like most uncomfortable. And I'm like, okay. So I go into the bush. I pull off a branch, make a nice little whip. And I'm like, okay. So I go, okay, buddy, let's go. And he doesn't go. So I give him a couple whacks. Oh, he's got run. and we were going down like these hills, and we jumped like these logs, like it's fun. He was the fastest horse in the bunch.
Oh,
He was the guy.
just
Yeah.
need a little encouragement, right?
A little bit of tough love. Yeah. Yeah, but we used to go riding all the time. Now we'd go there with Hardy and riding, and so Mick liked riding. Like I don't know, there's something about riding that's kind of very, it just feels good when you're on a horse. I don't know if you guys have ever ridden, but there's something to be said about when you're sitting on them. I break all mine bareback, so I always start bareback and halter. That's it, nothing else.
Yeah, I've never ridden bareback, but
yeah,
it's no joke,
yeah.
man.
So I've been pretty lucky the last little bit here, because I've got to go and like I got to share some with you guys too. So I got this tire company called Permashield Canada, like it's a tire sealant, and it works, but it's a startup. And then, anyways, I got partners that are they're Sikh. You know what Sikh is?
Yeah.
Yes.
East Indian, like East Indian, but they're Sikh, and they don't normally invest with they invest with their own only usually. I find. Well, these guys, I became friends with these guys, and the reason I met them was because of the horse. So horses and hockey have really, honestly, have been my whole, and they became, now they're partners, but they're also friends. They become good friends of mine. I actually sent a bunch of guys. I don't know if I sent it to Mick. I think I did. I did show him when I went to Joey McMahon's golf tournament, like last summer. I went to Joey's golf tournament, and so I showed the guys, and there was like, Tommy Fitz was there, and a lot of guys were there. Claude Lapointe, which was great, reconnecting with him. And so my friends Madir Gill and Belpreet Singh, they asked me to go in their parade, and I said, well, is there anything I can do out of respect for your culture, or I'll bring my horses and I'll ride in my wagon for the elders. And they go, geez, Rich, if you grew a turban and put a turban on and grew a beard, we'd be so grateful. I'm like, you know what? I'll talk to my president, like from Glen McCallum of our nation. And then a really good friend of mine is Chief Darcy Bear here of Whitecap First Nation. And anyways, I talked to them because I didn't want to disrespect my Indigenous culture. I actually grew a beard in like 5 weeks and wore a turban. I legitly pulled it off.
Wow.
I'll send you guys pictures. I'll send you guys some pictures.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, I will. And honestly, like, it went a long ways with my partnership too, because, right, I even had because I looked like older with my gray beard, I had like people come up and like in their culture, out of respect, they touch your feet. I had people come to touch like my feet. And I got it you'll see on my horse when I send it, I've got a Métis sash, what for us, we have a sash, it's called. So I have that on my shoulder, but I also have it on my horse. So yeah, it's kind of cool actually. But yeah, I found out some of my friends are racist too. They couldn't figure with me. I legitimately, yeah. So all good things. And
you had a lot of wisdom with that white beard, I'm sure. They must have come up to you looking for.
And I have like some of their lady friends that go, "Oh, you look so good." You're like, I think I look terrible.
Fit right in.
Yeah, but a lot of good things. Then back to hockey, even with the hockey stuff, though, like I look at my time on the island as one of an amazing, honestly, the island's a great place. And I tell people that because people that had never been there, they used to just come to the Marriott and be around that area at the time. And there was, not that it was a bad area, but you know what I mean? Like that's all they've seen, right?
Yeah.
You go farther, the island's a beautiful place. The North Shore, South Shore, you name it. The island's a beautiful place to live. So I
literally down the block from the Coliseum. We were one block south of Hempstead Turnpike. That's where our house was. So
wow, yeah.
For parking ever when we went to a game, and we went to many, and it was a great.
You know what? It's great. It's crazy too. When I look back at the Coliseum, where it's like the building they have now is beautiful. Like it is absolutely beautiful.
Right.
But like the Coliseum had such, and that's what's been lost, I think, in the hockey world is the character of some of these buildings, right? Like that, the old Chicago, Boston, Montreal, the Islanders, right? You know, the Garden, when you go to the Garden, man, the Garden's still there. It's the Garden, right?
Right.
You know,
Feeling.
but there's going to be a lot of new memories at the Coliseum, especially with that Schaefer kid, man. He's
Oh.
freaking, he should be MVP of the league, man. Like he's like, for what he means to the Islanders, and the kid's got a story. He's, you know, with everything he's been through, like this young man he's resilient and he loves hockey and he loves the game. And, you know, I get the, so lucky.
Yeah.
I mean, after all the tough years we've had here, and you were on the team for a lot of them, you know, with the ownership and the management and the building and all of the garbage and the team really not performing well, it's like we're finally getting through all that crap, and you can really see the tide turning. The management we have now, the ownership, and then just having this kid do what he's been doing has just been totally unbelievable. So yeah, man, you know, I think everybody in the Islander Nation is definitely really excited about the next couple of years coming up.
That's awesome. Like I'm thinking, like I'm trying to come to New York, right? So I'm trying to figure out when I'm going to go. I know I'm going to be coming in the summer, but I want to get there. Like I want to go watch this kid. I'm actually going to Pittsburgh on Saturday with Brian. I like there's a statue in I think you guys heard about a part of that statue or no?
Yeah. What was it? It's you and who was the other guy?
Jeff Norton, me and Norty.
And Lemieux's coming down on you guys there, right?
Yeah, like so the statue in front of the building is him, basically me, Norty, and Mario. I said I remember Bob McKenzie, I'm like, I think they just got the statue facing the wrong way. and I go, if you look at the video, because the reason they use that, because when they did the statue, with the front page of Sports Illustrated in 88, 89, and Mario was known for splitting the D. Well, it's me and Norty, but it's actually Norty's guy. I was just coming to help. So it wasn't really my guy. Better get that straight. I told that to my kid, right? I'm telling Garrett that. He goes, you're on the ice, Dad. Doesn't matter. It's your guy.
Yeah.
He's like, anyway, so I'm hoping I'm going to get to watch the Hurricanes and the Avalanche. I'm actually taking a friend of mine from Saskatoon, a good friend of mine from Métis Nation. His first time out of the country. And his first time, he's a Pittsburgh fan. So we were all set up. I'm hoping that Mario doesn't own the team anymore. So when Mario did the statue, he had asked if I ever, or not asked, but he said, he goes, because I was pretty good sport about it. Why wouldn't I be anyway? But like, anyways, he said, if you ever come to Pittsburgh, I'd like to entertain you and, you know, in my box, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm hoping, if anything, I think he's going to be around. It's kind of hit and miss, but hopefully I get to meet Mario a second time, right? Like just to kind of meet him actually. And I'm hoping, I would like to get a picture with him in front of that statue with him is kind of the plan. And then obviously with my friend Brendan coming and with Brian winning a Stanley Cup there with those guys, like you won two of them there. Mm-hmm. The Stanley Cup team's going to be there on one of those days, I believe. So we're going to hook up, and I'm hopefully going to meet. I really would like to, like, as a fan, I would really like to take a picture with and meet, like, Sid, like Crosby is who I'd really like to meet, and just to be like, shake his hand. And he's one of the guys I've been watching since I retired anyways. So I think he's a great guy and just a great hockey player. So, well, I shouldn't say a great guy. He seems like a great guy from what you hear about him and what he does. But it looks like he's such a good guy to be carrying the torch and he carried it for the NHL for many years. And there's nothing better than a guy like him, having him carry it. So, yeah. And now it's going to be handed to a guy like Schaefer is going to be the next guy. He's going to be carrying the torch for the NHL, man. Yeah.
It would have been your first pass, right? If you were paired with him, he'd be the guy you'd be passing to.
Oh, yes, I would be. Get get the odd apple. If I don't get, because when I went to the Rangers, like, fuck, man, the Glenn Sather hate me. Man, he didn't like me. And so I remember what happened was, so he takes over the team. I had a great, like, Neil Smith. Do you guys know anything about Neil Smith with the Islanders at the games and that?
Oh, sure.
We had him on the show.
Neil's a great.
We had him here.
Neil went through a lot of things with his own son, right? I don't know if you guys know that.
Yeah, we didn't bring it up though. Yeah, but yeah.
So what happened? So here's what happened. So when I went to New York here last year, went to the guard what do they call the Met? No, what they called now?
UBS Arena.
The UBS Arena.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Neil works. So yeah, so Neil worked for UBS. Like he basically does whatever he does.
Yeah.
So Richie, well, Big Daddy, I brought Big Daddy, John, and Lauren all to the game, right? And Bryan was already there with the Ranger Islander game, actually. And it was right at the end of the year. Both were making the playoffs. It was kind of like, wasn't good, right? But I brought, these guys had never been to the UBS, Lauren, Richie, and John from the show. Neil Smith is there. So Daddy brings, hey, Neil, because Neil brought me to the Rangers. That's when he was there. So we start talking and he starts asking about and I start very openly said, I've been through so many, I don't drink anymore, Neil, and blah, 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 and tried to take my life and blah, blah, blah. And well, not after the first period, he come and got me. And he goes, can I talk to you? I said, yeah, sure. Then he brought me to the back and then I didn't know anything about it. And he brought it up and he said, Rich, he goes, I just want to say thank you. And he was so good. Like, he was his, we had a good moment, him and I. I gave him a hug, and I always tell people hugging is probably one of the most healing things you can do to someone. And when you hug him, you actually hold them like you mean it, and don't let go till they pull away. And we had one of those moments, which I thought was amazing. Yeah. And then he goes to me, I'll take you to, I don't know who the guy one of the box guys, really nice guy, with Clark Gillies' best friend. You guys know that guy at the UBS?
At UBS, no.
He got a box. Like this guy's got. So he's got Billy Smith in there, Brian, Benoit Hogue, Ron Duguay, Butch Goring. They're all at his box. So Neil comes over. He goes, "Come on, I'll take you to the box." And I go, "No, I'm good." He goes, "No, Rich." He goes, "They're all in there." I said, "Yeah." I said, "I got my friends here." I said, "I brought them here. I'm staying with these guys. Thank you, but no thank you." I said, "We're good. I see Brian. I'll catch up with those guys another time. I'm just going to hang out with Lauren and these guys." And so then Neil comes back. He goes, "I'm taking you guys all there." So he went and asked, right? So I bring in John and we all go. Well, I didn't know that John's dad in Viking, Alberta, or I think it's one of those small towns in Alberta, not where it started, but close to it. His favorite player is Bryan Trottier. So John is now FaceTiming his dad, showing that he's standing with Bryan Trottier and Billy Smith, right? These guys are just in heaven.
Yeah.
And anyway, so we had a blast at a time. We didn't leave the UBS. I think they kicked us out at like 1:30 in the morning. Yeah.
That's a night.
Yeah, at 1:30, because this guy was like, God, what's his name? He was such a nice guy. I got to find out his name because I remember that guy. Because he was really nice, very, very nice guy. Best friend of Clark Gillies, and then and Smitty and I I had the best time in there, and like Sarah Palin.
Yeah, with Duguay, right?
Yeah, she was Duguay. So I don't drink. And I'm laughing. Me and Smitty are like, Smitty looks great. Everybody, we're all having laugh. Hoagie, we're telling stories. So she comes over and she's like, "Can I get you a drink?" And I'm like, I don't drink. She goes, "You're not drinking?" I said, "No." She goes, "What are you drinking?" I go, I don't know, Coke, Diet Coke, maybe. She goes, I'll get you a Coke then, Diet Coke. She gives me Diet Coke. Ron Duguay comes over. "Are you hitting on Sarah?" And I'm like, I don't know, because I think I'd have a few drinks. I'm like, first of all, I go, no, but if I was, do you really think you could stop me? I go, I'm like joking, right?
I know the answer to that.
What's that?
I said, I know the answer to that one.
Yeah, and I was like laughing, but like Ron, I don't mind. Like Ron, actually, he's a nice guy too. Like Duguay seemed like a very nice guy. I didn't get, it was short, but anyway, he seemed very nice. Too bad he's going through some shit too now.
He's going through some shit too right now.
Yeah, hopefully the rallies and gets healthy and finds a way to, for himself to just get healthy. But we had a blast. Smitty and Butchie and it was all because of Neil. So I have Neil's number now. So when I go to New York, I'm going to make sure I said to him, and I will. I'm connecting with him on a day away from the rink, and we're going to go have, we'll get together, have a dinner, lunch, or something. But he's definitely a guy I want to reconnect with and just kind of go listen. Just to let him.
Success act all the way. I mean, honestly, we had him on the show a while back, and he was just a gem. And honestly, and I might have embarrassed him, or we may have embarrassed him, where we said, how is this guy not in the Hall of Fame with all he accomplished, as a head scout, assistant GM? I mean,
I know. And he's one of those guys. Are you guys still there? Yeah, he's still there. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Well, he's one of those guys I find, like Neil. He's like a technician of the game. Like, he gets it. But he always had funny stories, because when I got to the Rangers, I drove a Z71 white truck with a cab in the back for my dogs, Saskatchewan plates, white. When you pulled up at when I remember, like, when I first got there, I was getting driven, like, from the island to the practice facility, and the driver was like, it's like a Mercedes dealership in here. Look at the cars. Mercedes, Land Rover, BMW. The Islanders, we had Camrys. Mick had a Ford, Bronco. I got a truck. There was Darius had the Mercedes, him and Vladdy. They had the Mercedes, right? So I don't know the routine of the team yet. So I get picked up on waivers, play in Jersey. After Jersey, fly to Buffalo. In my contract, I have my own room. At this time, they didn't have, like, you had roommates. I end up, my roommate's Alexander Daig. But I don't want to say anything that I have my own room, because I don't want to seem like a prima. So I'm like, I'm just going to, maybe I won't snore. Because I've had my own room since my first year with the Islanders.
Wow.
Because I was going through roommates, and then Al and they got sick of it. They're like, and I was like, listen, I said, Al, I'm not trying to be, but I said, I need to get into a routine with a roommate, but I don't have a roommate long enough. I'm always changing. I go, he goes, that's it. You're getting your own room. So then I got my own room, right? Because it's my first year. So when I signed my deal with the Islanders with Milbury, with Mike, like, that's another, I get that some fun stories, actually. So
good. We were going to get
yeah. So Milbury and I had a really good but anyway, so I go back to my own room. So my roommate's Alexander Daig. I don't know Alex at all. But, yeah. So he's my roommate. So I get in my room, like, listen, I said, Alex, I go, I might snore. I said, just give me a heads up. Just throw a pillow at me. Yeah, doesn't talk very much, right at the time. Wake up at 4 a.m. He's like, I wake up like I got shut out of bed because of the noise. Well, I was snoring. And I looked at him and I was like, was I snoring? And he's like, he rolled his eyes at me. And so now I feel bad, right? So in the morning, he wakes up. We wake up, and I'm like, I said, listen, Alex, I go, sorry about last night. I said, I can get my own room. He goes, listen. He goes, Rich, you seem like a pretty good guy, but the Daigle needs to sleep. And if the Daigle doesn't sleep, the Daigle don't perform. And if the Daigle don't perform, the coaches are upset. So the Daigle's got to get his rest. That's how he's talking. Oh, yeah. I want to, stroke him. I'm like, is this fucking guy kidding me? So long story short, he always refers himself to third person, the Daigle.
Yeah.
And anyway, so Alex, now in the year, he's always like, he'd be impressed. He would come up to me. He'd be like, he's actually a good, very good guy. He'd come up to me and be like, oh God, Rich, the Daigle don't have it today. I said, no. He goes, the Daigle's taking the night off. He goes, and he would take the night. He goes, the Daigle will be on the fourth line before you know it. He goes, and that would happen. I'd be like, this guy's unfucking believable.
That guy went first overall back in 86 or something like that.
Yes.
And he's probably, I mean, it's funny that you mentioned that's how he talks, because if he went first overall and became, called a cup, trophy winner and won a bunch of cups for Ottawa, I could see him referring to himself as the Daigle. But when you're one of the biggest first overall busts in NHL
Oh
history,
yeah.
you got to drop that
He
shit,
got his
man.
he's got his own radio show now or something in Ottawa, I think.
Really?
It's actually that's pretty good. Yeah. The Daigle's got his own show. So I used to tell these stories about him because I'd be like, I remember we were out one night. This is hilarious. Some girl mowed the girl he was after. So I'm like, so in the morning I see him, I go, you know what, Daigle? It could be the first time the Daigle got his grass mowed by another girl. I go,
Oh, man.
like he would show up, he would pay the traders because he got called up because he was in the minors. So the Rangers were paying for his room in the city or wherever he was. They never told him to find a place, so he was just living in a hotel. He was so cheap. He would go out, play a big dog, and then call like me or Eric Lacroix and go, hey, because we were in like by the Rye Playland where the practice facility was. He'd be like, can I sleep over tonight? And he'd get limo to your house. Yeah. Eric goes, he would wake up Eric, and then Eric goes, he fucking showed up in a limo. Like, what? So then he retires because the Daigle went to find himself in LA. Okay. Then he comes out of retirement. Remember, he's playing for Minnesota. He's having a good year. So he came. He was playing for Minnesota. He was having a good year. Yeah. So he was playing with, I think it was Minnesota or Columbus, one of those two teams. Anyways, he comes out of retirement. And he's playing. So on Hockey Night in Canada, Don Cherry, Ron McLean, they're talking about the Daigle and what a year he's having. And Ron's like, I can't. This guy, Alex, is he's having such a good year. What do you think, Ron? What do you think, Don? He goes, I think the Daigle needed the money. He goes, that's why he came out of retirement. So that thing with the Rangers. So this is what happened. So remember the trip in Buffalo that I just told about the Daigle? We land at White Plains, right? First of all, the New York Rangers, the plane. I'm like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. Have you heard about their plane?
No.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Like everything, like we're like, because it's all with the Knicks. It's all first class seating for basketball players. Like it's amazing. You get on the plane, the food. It's just the Rangers do treat you unbelievable. When you land, all your cars are started and running before you leave. Like they're all. I'm like, so when I just jumped into a town car because I was going back to Long Island, right? I'm like, I can't believe their cars are all running like that. They're warming them up. That's unreal. They're all on the tarmac, like on the side. Wow. I don't know. Now I got to drive to White Plains. I don't know like the routine, I guess. I didn't ask it. I just assumed they parked on the tarmac. So I drive to the security gate of the airport, right? Neil Smith is behind me with Darren and JR. I don't know if you remember those names that played. They were at the Rangers. So they go like this. They're like, my Saskatchewan plates. And Neil kind of talks through his nose a little bit. Do you guys notice that? He does. Anyways, he goes to Darren. He goes, oh my God. Are we not paying somebody enough? Okay. So who is this? He's like, who is this? So I drive with my white Z71 GMC with a white cab for my dogs. I drive by, I see the Ranger plate. I'm like, well, fuck, I'm the first one here. I didn't want to be late, but I did. They'd be the first one. Well, I guess they're right behind me. Management's behind me. So I'm like, I'm trying to find a good spot to park by the plane. I'm like, well, I don't know where this should be good. I guess I'll start the line up here, I guess, by the plane. I walk up the stairs. Or into the plane, and they're already on the plane because they got dropped off right in the front. I walk up and I go, what do I do with my keys? And JR's like, well, where'd you park? I go, well, right there. The window. I look through the window. I go, right over there. And they go. JR's like, yeah, just give me your keys. He goes, we'll take care of it. Well, I was supposed to check my car at the front. Like they VIP it at the front, and they take your car, they park it for you. Then they drive it out when it's there. I drove right onto the tarmac, right beside the plane. Such a hit. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. But then basically Sather came, and honestly, I tried cocaine that year, that after the season was over, with the year with Sather. So he took over the team, right? So about my career, that's back to my hockey career.
Right.
I'm now, Neil Smith not there. They bring in Glenn, right? He called me on July 2nd, and this is my conversation. He goes, I called his number back. His wife answers. It's like a day after July 1st here, which is a big deal. I was loaded all fucking night. She goes, who is this? I said, it's Richie Pilon. She goes, just give me a second. She goes, who? I said, Richie. She goes, who is this? And all I hear is, Glenn, it's for you. I'm like, oh, it's fucking Sather. I'm like, give me some water. I want to try and like get rid of the raspy voice. I'm like, he gets on the phone. He goes, hey, Rich. I said, hey, Glenn, how you doing? He goes, well, we got a problem. I said, oh, yeah, what's that? He goes, I think you're fat and I think you're overpaid. And I laugh. He goes, not a joke. Not joking. I'm like, what the fuck did I do? Like, I thought I had a decent year with like, right? But I was making two. So what Mess said to me, he goes down the list of his players. He goes, and you were just a little bit too high for his liking at two. And he didn't like my weight. And he goes, because I always played about 212, but I was always like 11% body fat, not like, you know what I mean? But always really fit, but not
solid.
Like, I started working out with a guy out of Colorado. He got me to like 220, but like 10% body fat. You know what I mean? Like just different. Glenn goes, he basically says to me, he goes, if you don't show up at 206, you're going, I'm going to end your, he goes, if you don't show up to camp at 206, I'm going to end your career.
Oof.
I said, fuck. I said, I remember going from being like, I said to him, I go, well, Glenn, I go, obviously you don't like me. So I don't even know why you're wasting any time. Like, why don't you just get rid of me and trade me? He goes, oh, so now you're a quitter. Yeah. Yeah. That's what he does. Yeah, he's a dick. So I'm just like, I negotiated 215. And he goes, if you show up to camp at 214, he goes, I'm going to end your career. I weighed myself on July 3rd. Guess what I weighed?
214.
214.
No, July 3rd. This is July 3rd. This is summer weight.
Yeah.
Working out with a guy by the name of Charles Poliquin. You guys ever hear that name? Poliquin Principles?
No.
This guy changed the whole. If you guys want some little digging, Charles Poliquin and Poliquin Principles, he had Chris Pronger, Gary Roberts, Al McInnes, Keith Kachuk, Amante. He had what's his name? That was captain of the Islanders, coached him too. Dougie Waite, and he has Rich Pilon, And the reason I got to work out with Charles is because of Brad McCrimmon. So he changed my whole body weight. Been with him 5 years now. He was super expensive, but worth it. I weighed myself on, I've been with him for 4 years now after this point. So now he doesn't weigh me in when I go to Colorado once a month during the summer. Get my program, come back to Saskatchewan, do the whole thing. Like, it's costly, but it's worth it. The guy was amazing. Changed the whole game of working out. He was one of the gurus. Gary Roberts basically is a guru of him. That's what Gary does. Anyways, I weighed myself. I was 243 pounds.
Oh, shit.
Whoa.
Fuck, I was fat. I don't know if I was overpaid yet, but I definitely was fat. And I'm not even worried about Glenn. I'm worried about Charles. I call him up, and I remember just being like so sheepish. I'm like, oh my God. So I tell him, he goes, I'm going to send you pills. This is what you're going to do. You're going to work out in the morning. You're going to do an hour flush every night, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, then we're going to have to build you back up, but you got to drop a lot of weight in the next bit. So this was July 3rd. On August 9th, I was 202 pounds.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
Then he built me back up, and I weighed in at the Rangers 211. Okay? 211, probably the best shape of I've ever been, honestly.
Wow.
So that's a tribute to Glenn giving me a wake-up call, right? That's for sure. Dave Checketts, the CEO, MSG, he's announcing now Glenn, because that's Glenn's first year, right? As GM. And he's going on and on about how great he is. And we all know he means business. Hey, Rich Pilon? I'm like, are you effing kidding me? Like, this guy doesn't stop. I'm like, he's going to take credit for this, right? So I get my package, like my envelope, whatever, you're going to P-test, all this stuff, basically your schedule. And I see Glenn coming. Oh, I'm like, fuck, I despise this guy now. That's what I'm thinking, right? And I turn, as he's coming to talk to me. And I turn and I go, Jesus, I go, I always thought you were taller. And I walk away. Yeah. I'm like, fuck it, I got him. Fuck you.
Immediately.
I get to the rink the next day. We do our testing, did amazing. I get to the rink on day 2. All the D are in red. I'm in yellow. The only guy in yellow. Oh, I am redlining. I tell Mess, I'm like, Mess, I go, you're probably the only guy, but keep your head up. I go, I obviously got to make this team. He's made it very clear. So I said, I got no friends on the ice. Peter Nedved cheats on every drill. Okay? I'm like, if he cheats today, like, you know that one-on-one drill where you start the D go from the center ice around the dot, kind of like the offside dot.
Yeah.
Right.
Take him down one-on-one. The forwards start on the hash. I'm like, if he cheats, I'm not going backwards. I'm in pinch mode. And he cheats. So, and forwards got their head down because they're like, right?
Yeah.
I yard sale him. He's like our second best player, third best player. His like helmet. I remember his Yofi. Like, there's things that always stand out was his helmet spinning, and he was knocked the wind out of him, and he's hurt. And Sather is yelling, "Get him off the ice! Kick him off me!" So I go back in line. And Ron Lowe with our coach, Ronnie comes up. He goes, "You have to leave the ice." I go, "For what?" He goes, "Sather wants to kick you off the ice." I go, "I'm not going." He goes, "Rich, you got to leave." I'm like, "Make me." And Ronnie goes, "Rich, you have to leave." I'm like, "Listen, I'm not fucking leaving." He's made it very clear, Ron. I'm in a yellow jersey. I got to make this team. I'm going to do everything I can to make the team. And I don't care who's out here. This is just the beginning of that. Okay? So Ron goes to the thing and goes, he won't leave. And now Peter's getting hauled off the ice by the trainers, Rammer and all them. And I'm just standing there. I remember like Doiger, Jason Doig. Jason Doig's like, "You really not going to leave?" I'm like, "No, I'm not leaving." And he goes, "Jesus," he goes, "I've never seen anything like this." Did Doiger, like Jason Doig, is like just talking to me like this. So I didn't even know this guy very. He was just you. So then Ronnie comes back. He goes, Rich, you really, I said, listen, Ronnie, I said, unless this jersey comes off, I am not leaving. So then, long story short, I get brought into the alleyway. Sather comes down. He goes, you're going to fucking hurt every player? I said, if I have to, I just want to make the team. I said, Glenn, I go, this color is not my color. And I said, until this comes off, this is what you're going to get. I don't give a fuck. Yeah. And either change your fucking jersey. Then I do. First 9 games, I get like 5 minutes, 7 minutes ice time. Like, I'm like not playing. So I if you look at my penalty minutes, the beginning of those first 9 games, I think I had like stupid minutes because I was telling the refs, like I remember Cole and these guys, I'm like, just give me fucking 10. They're like, 10 for what? I'm not playing anyway. I'm about to rack up the minutes. He goes, they're like, Cole. I remember like Magoo's like, Rich, you go, we can't just like give you. I go, Magoo, you're just a fat fuck. I go, if I'm going to watch a game, I want to watch it from that side. At least I said, I'm not sitting on this side. So they give me 10 minutes. I get 2 and 10. Or 5 and 10.
I love it.
Yeah. Then finally game number 10, I remember game 9 or 10. Ronnie comes up to me like, you're playing tonight with Leachy. I go, what? He goes, you're playing with Leachy tonight. I go, I was like, I just looked at it in my head. I was like, I'm going to seize up. If I got to play like as much minutes or close to that, I'm going to seize up. I go to the trainer. I'm like, hey, can you get some Pedialyte in the room? Like, you know, like the baby stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, we need some bottles. Raver's like, for what? I go, I'm going to be cramping bad if I got to play minutes tonight. And I was. So until I got going again, I don't know. That was one of the things I always cramped very easily. So the way me and Leachy hit it off, right? And I became his Jeff Bookaboo. Right?
Yeah.
I was good friends with Mark. I was gonna sign back with the Rangers. Like for sure. But Sather didn't like me, right? He didn't. And I didn't drink that whole year. I was like, there's some other story that I can't talk, that's mess stories. But anyways, my year-end party, tried Coke. Go into my meeting on Coke.
Oof.
And it became the truth serum. Glenn offered me a deal in the room. But like, I think he offered me 700 or something, 700. And I was like, basically, I looked at him, I was like, basically, into an F off.
Yeah.
Stick that up it just went off on him. Never got an offer. Yeah. I was like, oh my God, what did I just do? Yeah, terrible. There's drugs for you, right?
Yeah, shit, man.
Crazy. Yeah. And then basically signed with St. Louis for 1.5 a year, basically there. Yeah. Like
how many guys from that 92 Islander team did you play with on the Rangers? I don't remember exactly what year you went over there.
Ray, I played with Ray. Just Ray.
Yeah.
Ray, yeah.
Did you ever realize how many of you guys from the 92, 93 team were on the Rangers after their Islander career was done?
Oh, Healy. Yeah, but Glenn wasn't there with I was there.
Healy
wasn't there.
Healy.
Flatley.
Flatley. Malikov, Kasparaitis. Ray Ferraro.
I played with.
Went there, he wasn't on that team, but
was that
half that team went there.
Those guys? That was Smith grabbing them, right?
That's what I was going to get at, right? It must have been Smith because he was an Islander at heart. That guy, I got to tell you.
Well,
He
was I got you. If you get a chance, it's on YouTube. You don't have to listen to the podcast. You just see the interview. He's very Islander-centric, and I will tell you, even if you only have 10 minutes, fast forward to the end to the last thing he says. You'll laugh your ass off because we did.
I will. Yeah.
He was a great interview, man.
Yeah, he was like, you know what? That's one thing with the Island. We had that one team, the 93 team, and we were like, we had honestly at that time, if they were able to keep that team together.
Yes.
it would have been that
Yes.
would have been the start, but they couldn't because of ownership and Spano coming in, and then Millbury. Even when I signed with Millbury, I remember because and here's what happened with Mike and me, and this is my version, but I wonder sometimes if I make some, like, I don't know, but this is what I remember. Spano was going to fire, like, remember when Spano took over, he made Millbury step down as coach,
Coach, yeah.
just be GM.
96, right? 96.
96, yeah.
He didn't like Mike. Spano did not like Mike. Mike just signed a 5-year deal, I think, with the Islanders or some just new deal, right? Something like that. Making like good money to do both. Spano takes over. I'm out in the bar, and these two girls I know, one comes up to me, she goes, I'm sleeping with Spano. and I know her, and I'm like, yeah, no, you're not. She goes, Rich, I'm at every game. I'm in the box with them. Like, she's a great, like, they're both her, Lee and Jen, and I'm like, seriously? She goes, yeah, he's gonna fire Mike. I'm like, what are you talking about? Mike, she goes, he's gonna blackmail him. I go, what's he gonna do? Yeah, if you look at Spano's book, they talk about it. There's a thing there, I guess. I haven't read the book, but she tells me this. So I relay the message to Mike. And I say, if you're ever around these two girls, be careful. And these girls aren't bad girls. They're not, but they're just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I heard, like, whether this was, they were telling me the truth, I didn't know, right? Well, guess what happens? Trade deadlines coming, bonuses the coach, and Bones comes to me and he goes, you got to go see Mike. I go, for what? I go, you guys trade me? He goes, no. He goes, he told me to take your, I go, can he come down here? We're going to start practice, aren't we? He's like, yeah, but he goes, he told me to take your stuff off. You got to go see him in the office. I go up in the office. The whole way up, I'm like, did he know about this? Did he know about that? I remember, like, walking that long walk. Like, what am I in trouble for? Like, I got to come out, walk in, and he goes, it happened. That happened. The two girls. And he goes, Rich, if I'm ever in a position to give you a job, I owe you a big one. And that's where that offer came in.
Yeah, because I saw him with the guys on Spittin' Chicklets, and he was actually talking about that.
Yeah, I heard him mention it too.
They tried to frame him.
Yeah.
Like, Spano tried to frame him.
That's out of his mind.
I saved his butt. I was like, he'd have been done. So he came through. Then he does this. This is even funnier. This is what he does. He calls me after I agreed to Florida for less money. He's like, I said, Mike, I had 2 affairs in New York, man. Jackie's not going there. She wouldn't go there. Didn't care how much it was. So now I retire. You know what a Costco is?
Yeah.
Like, Costco?
Yeah.
So we have a Costco here, whatever. I'm walking in, like, this is like, now I've announced my retirement but nobody knows the real reason. He calls me up. He goes, I'm going to be an ambassador for the team. And I can't remember if the number was $250 a year or $200 a year for 3 years to be an ambassador for the Islanders. And I go, what? He goes, yeah. He goes, you can be an ambassador for the team. And then he goes, I don't owe you after this. And I go, Jackie wouldn't go for fucking 800. What? Like, now she's not going for it. I said, you still owe me. that was we had a laugh about it, though. Yeah. But I haven't really, you guys want to hear the best story with Rick Bowness and Millbury?
Sure. Yes.
For me? I'm going to say it. Fuck it. So I have my nipple pierced, okay? Get this. Get this.
Wow.
So one of the girls I had an affair with, she was Miss Portugal. Okay. She wanted to remember me by something. So she goes, I said, what do you want to do? She goes, let's pierce our nipples. Sure. Okay. So I do this stupid thing. It was like June. I come home. I went to New York, just whatever. I'm having an affair. Like, it's not right. I come back. My wife's like, "What the hell is that?" I'm like, everybody's doing this now. I don't know. She's like, "What's wrong with you?" So I go to camp. I got to tape it up. I got to protect it. Just like, what am I doing? Like, you know what I mean? Like, but I'm always one of those guys. No fear, right? Not afraid to try shit. Not like just. Anyways, we're on like a 7-game. Now I tell the trainer Richie, I'm like, listen, you can tell them if I smell like booze, but if they find out about this, you and I got a big problem. Like management, nobody knows, right? Just nobody knows. Just the team. So the players like they're like they're mixed like what's like come on, right? So I'm taping it up. We're on a 7-game losing streak, and I remember like 7 games. I'm in the room getting ready to tape this thing up. So this is the coaching staff. Lauren Henning, Don Maloney, Kenny Morrow, Wayne Fleming. Rick Bonus, head coach. Mike Milbury, GM. Okay?
Wow.
Guys start yelling at me. They're like, Chief, you got to come in. Bones is calling me before practice. I fucking bolt out of the room, no shirt, sit in my stall. And I'm leaning on my elbows, or my elbows on my knees. And I'm looking at a head, like a spot above like Bones' head. And I'm like, why do you keep staring at me? I don't score goals. We can't score. That's why we're losing. We can't score. And I sit back and I feel it move. I'm like, oh my God. And now I'm like, now I know why he stared. I messed up his whole like talk. Like he was rattled. He's rattled. So I look over at the wall. You know what? Have you guys ever been into our old dressing room? Have you guys ever been in there?
Yeah, I've been there.
You know, remember like the big thing in the middle, like that where we kept our tape and all that in the middle? There was the big. Well, Bones is walking around, but he's hanging on the one side at the end right where I sit. I'm looking over at the wall, and every time he's turning his back, the coaches are all shimmying along the wall because they were trying to look at the nipple. Right? Okay. So Bones comes over. He's like, what the fuck is that? I go, it's a pierced nipple. And he just fucking goes, and he goes, you don't think I know? The fuck, yeah, I know. Can you tell me why? And the first thing that comes, no, he gives me shit. I go, it's a pierced nipple. And I go, he goes, can you tell me why? And I go, I lost a bet. He goes, you lost? So we're having a conversation. And he goes, a bet. I said, yeah. And I could see Mick. Mick was going like this. Like I'm in trouble, right? Because I was always the coach's bet. He's like, you can shit. And Bones turns away, walks away, like he wrecked his whole meeting. Like, then he turns around again and he comes back to him like, oh fuck, here he comes again. Now he's really gonna give it to me. He puts his hand on my shoulder and he goes, and he looks at the room. He goes, and you see, guys, that's why I love this guy. He is not afraid. So the coaches all leave the room. He goes, guys are like, that's it. We're all going to get our nipples pierced. Whole team, we're going.
Trick.
Wild. Idiot. What an idiot I am.
Talking about
anyways.
This guy, I mean, all these guys that you fought during the day, you know, there were some real badass dudes, and they had that one job, a lot of them on the team. Who was some of the most memorable fights with that you can remember? Because I know you know what
You know what? Eric Lindros and I had good battles, right? Lindros and I always had battles. You know what? Like, I wasn't a heavyweight, but I wasn't a middleweight. You know what I mean? So I was in the middle, I think, of those, like, and like some guys would be like, I would fight certain guys, like the heavyweights, out of respect because of and I learned this from Al early on, and I learned as I played. I got nothing going after the tough guys. Nothing. But when I abused Mario, when I abused Yager, when I abused Eric, when I abused any of the top 6 guys, because I was usually playing against those guys, my whole job was I got to punish these guys, and that way get the team all focused on trying to take me out.
Right.
Get them all worked up about me instead of like winning a game. That was my thinking, right? So because of that, and honestly, because I got hurt a lot too, because I practiced like I played. So I was hard on myself in practice. So, my games, whatever, I think I've got like, I don't know what I got for games. I think it's 640 or whatever. What do I have? 540? 640, I think it is. For games played,
Oh, all together, I don't know. You think you had 509 with the Islanders?
Yeah, so I think I was like around 650 around there. I should have been like,
Yeah, because you had seasons with the Rangers and then a short stint with.
Yeah. So I would have been. I think I'm almost 650, whatever it is. But anyways, I also practiced so hard because I had to, right? But then I also didn't take care of my body, so it's like, you know what I mean? Like I was always punishing my body all the time.
Yeah.
Like I never gave it time off. Like I never gave it the right time off. Like, and that's where I told my son, I said, you have to we called it, like, we used to talk about picking our spots. Like, because we didn't, you know what I mean? Like, but it wasn't really at the end of the day, like, we didn't, because so if I had to play, but those guys back to your question, I want to answer your question. So guys that I would be like, I respected would be like, that I would fight out of respect. Like, even like Ty Domi, I dropped him with him because I respected him, right? Joey Kosher, I didn't at the time as much till later on, right? Because he was to be on the ice. Probert was like, I went after him because of Smitty, and all of a sudden the guy wants to kill me every time I play him. I'm like, well, I'm not fighting this guy. Like, I'm not that stupid. Like, this guy's nuts. Like, there's no way. I'm not, like, there's a no-win situation. You fight those guys. If you do well, they're coming back for round 2,
yes.
Right? It's not like you're gonna get a win and be like, hey, I got to win enough to fight that guy again. Oh no, yeah, you do, right? So. But I had more battles with like the Lindroses, and because of the visor, actually, here's what happened too. I got to fight like Vincent Lecavier, Keith Jones. They thought I was like either French or from Europe. That's why they dropped them. Then I would take off my helmet. I remember like Jonesy talking about this. He goes, I take off my helmet. I'm like, fuck, what's he doing? Why is he taking his helmet off? Kick the living shit out of him. But
I remember that you had put a hit on Eric Lindros at one game that he never got up from. And
that was a dirty hit, actually.
No, it was a clean hit. He me and Steve were talking about this. He had a bad habit of not picking his head up, man. Like, he didn't think he was going to.
He was always head down. Yeah, he was like,
and that was on that play, man. I was looking at it just the other day, and he was mouthing off something, while he was on his knees and couldn't get up. And then the next thing I saw in the clip was that you guys were fighting, and I don't know, did that spur like that whole, Okay.
We honestly, I knew when we played, like, my whole thing with Eric, I could get in his kitchen. Like, he was so worried about taking me out that he didn't even think about scoring goals, honestly, when we were on the ice, right? Or looking for me, because I was dirty. I really was. That was my whole thing. I was a dirty player. And I used to slew foot when we could slew foot, can opener. You know what I mean? Like, there's just things that we got back in our day we were allowed to do. And what do people do? You push boundaries, right? Like, you're always, and I learned really early on in my career, what I used to do too is I was always really good with the refs and the linesmen. I used to send beer to the linesmen after games. Yeah. Guess what? Like, Pat DiPuzio, like with the Islander, remember Pat, the linesman?
Yeah.
Fuck, if I started losing a fight, he jumped in all the time. Yeah. Fucking great. He was awesome.
Paid to be a little proactive at the time.
Yeah. But it's true. Like, and I told my son this because he was a centerman. I'm like, you got to be so polite and fucking respectful to your linesmen and refs. I go, and you're going to get away with murder almost. You will. They'll give you rope, and they do. And that happened to me all the time with ref. The only ref that actually hated me was Paul Stewart. Hated me.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Any other ref, I would like Magoo, Coho. Like I had fun on the ice with these guys. Like we used, and even like the linesmen, we joked. We'd be like, there's some really funny stories like that happened even on the eye. Like I didn't want to go there, but I remember Magoo and Coho were the refs, and it was like they were like the whole building was like stopped because of my as being an idiot. Like nuts. These guys were so awesome. Yeah. So
Well, you were in a
Very
really,
lucky.
really, I don't know, historic spot when it came to the Islanders when you came up and you were playing. You were right there, like Mick, when we talked to him about it too, the transition from the Islanders, from those cup years into the rebuilding years. You saw some of the heroes of that era that were on there in the latest stages of their career. You saw the rebuilding with some of the newer guys. You were one of them. And you saw some success when it got to that, like, say, a few years down the road, 92, 93, you guys really, I mean, to me, that's still the best team post-dynasty that we've seen in the past 40 years. And then you went through this other whole thing with the, Don Maloney as GM, place in Torrey. The coaches, the rotation doors, Milbury coming in, the uniform change. I mean, what was going through your head at the time when this was going on? You must have been swimming.
It's like, you know what? I always think of Scott LaChance. You guys remember LC LaChance, the D-man?
Yeah.
He said this. He would come off the bus, and he was, honestly, because they'd be a firing of a coach, that's what we were going through, change of ownership. And he would go, like the circus.
Yeah.
And he'd go, Chief, same circus, just a different ringleader.
Yeah.
And he was right. Honestly, that's what it was. So if you got no stability at ownership, then you're not going to have it at the GM management. It's just constant. And then it's a revolving door with players, right? If it wouldn't have been for my drinking and the way I remember Mike when he brought me in, I would have never left the Islanders. I know that. Because the way I played, as a coach, like with the coaches taught me to push guys on the team around to be able to keep them sharp. You know what I mean? But there was always this Rich, geez, if he would take care of his body better. That was the conversation for sure they had, right? He maybe wouldn't be as hurt if he wasn't I never went out with young guys. With the young guys, I always made sure that if I ran with people from the island, like Big Daddy, my friend Steve, Bambino, Hardy. I didn't take young guys and with me. That's one thing I didn't do because I was like, but they still know kind of what you're up to, right? Well, they do, right? Because they're part of that family. When you become part of that family, honestly, it's a brotherhood for life. That's one thing when it comes to hockey, whether it be coaches or on these teams, it's a brotherhood for the rest of your life.
Yeah, super bond.
I think I would imagine most sports are like this. You know what I mean? Like there's something different about an athlete you're in a brotherhood that's kind of really, when you're there, it's you don't know how beautiful and how good you have it until it's not there.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that maybe it's an age thing or I don't know what it is, but Crosby's like that. McDavid's like that. They know what they're in. And that's why I know there's only a handful of those guys like that. But I think in today's game, there's more players like that than there is like the Rich, the Kasperitis, the even Brian McCabe. You like to party, you know what I mean? Yeah. And these guys are good guys. Like they're good hockey guys. But we also like Kaber's he's done unbelievable. Now, do you guys know where Brian McCabe's up to now these days?
No.
That's not her. He's down in Florida, right?
He's basically like the player development guy for Florida. He's won like Tubby's 2 Stanley Cups now with Florida.
Well, his wife is from like literally a mile from where I live.
He spends the whole summer on the island.
Yeah, he comes back up here a lot, and we never knew that. He brought the Panthers Cup up here over the summer for the golf.
Yeah, he's a like Caber's amazing. He's a good guy. Like he had a great career. He wasn't like he had a great career for. Geez, that guy survived, man. He played a lot of teams
when he was here. People loved him. We all loved him.
Yeah, that was that's another Mike Milbury draft, and then Mike Milbury throwing off and kicking to the curb, not giving a young guy time to develop.
Well,
I never understood why.
Chara's the other one, right? Z. I remember Z.
Roberto Luongo,
like Z.
Right?
Luongo. But you know what? You're also having the pressure to win now, right? And Mike was. Mike, like, to me, like, that was the thing. When you have ownership changes like that, they got to win now, right? Think about the owners that came. Like, now you got owners that what's the guy's name now? Like, the main guy that kind of, he's always there?
Ledecky.
Like, is he the major owner of the team, or right?
He's one of the partners, yeah.
Yeah.
He's a partner, but is he a major partner?
He is, but there's the other guy, Malkin, is probably the main guy that you don't see or hear from too much.
Yeah.
And then they got a bunch of other guys that are minority partners that have different jobs, like that guy John Collins, who helped in the GM search. But Malkin and Ledecky were the main guys, and then Malkin's I think is really like the money guy.
But they had work to get the team. It wasn't like they just wrote a check. They had to actually They had to. And Ledecky, like, just from the little bit I've met him, like, he's treated the alumni amazing, like the whole Islander organization. And no disrespect, like the Rangers they've been good, but with the way the Islanders at UBS treat us, like from, oh my God, what's her name now? I want to say Jacqueline, but it's not Jacqueline. Oh, what's her name? She's with the alumni, amazing, right from like so classy. To having those alumni weekends for us guys to come in and kind of just be part of it again for a little bit. You know what I mean? It's like, that's just class. The Rangers don't do anything like that. They just take care of the guys like the Messiers, the Graves, the guy that won the Stanley Cups.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and we've heard like yourself that, if you had one game, one training camp appearance as an Islander, you're getting a letter from the alumni to come to
it.
Yeah.
I just reconnected because I saw what's his name. Oh God, why is my memory going? From the St. Louis Blues. I actually met with. He was up here. He's from Saskatoon. He won. Because I'm going to reconnect with my Blues organization because I actually had some really good when I was there. That was for the limit I was there. It was still like. That was another thing. Like when you think about like injuries, like you have a year in, and I told my son this. I go, if I'd have been smart, the right thing to do would have been knowing my career was like almost over, right? Getting paid a very hefty salary to not play. I should have been transitioning into coaching and being part of the management. You know what I mean? Like show interest in that. But I had interest of coke, strip clubs, party. Honestly. Yeah. Oh, I don't have to. I'm not playing. I feel bad for myself. My life fucking terrible. It sucks. I'm not allowed to play, so I'm gonna go get shit faced. You know what I mean? Like just the mindset was in a bad place and addictions, and where that would have been the transition, right? And my son, like Garrett is like, and I'm trying to, he gets to do things more because he was on a one way for a couple of years already, right? He just came in at the wrong time because of the COVID. So when he should have been getting an opportunity, they weren't bringing players up because of COVID. Right. And all of a sudden they still draft first rounders, and you're not quite doing enough to get that look. Plus, wherever he goes, the guys that brought him there either get fired. Just like he came to Ottawa, Rick Bonus's son brought him here. There's the relationship, right? Bones brought him, his son, and brought Garrett there. Garrett was captain the last 2 years in Belleville. They fired the guy the coach that really liked him at Christmas for what? Like really at Christmas? Because you basically because Staios honestly is not a good guy. He's a ball licker. Yes.
That puts it in a nutshell.
Yeah, I'm just gonna if I
Put it
fucking
bluntly.
suck on the right balls, I get a job for a long time. Fucking can't stand the guy. Travis Green, I said to Garrett, I said, God, because Travis and I were connected when he was with Vancouver, right? And I'm like, you know what? I think I'm gonna just send a message to Greedy. So I tell my son like a week ago, I'm being a fucking crazy parent. I go, my son talks to me like whatever. We have a good relationship too. He's like, I said, I just want to say Greedy, say, you know what? Fucking Ottawa? Like, what the fuck? Can you not shit on why would you shit on your captain in the minors? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that don't make sense.
Like, you really want first of all, you're in Belleville, Ontario, man. Like, it's not the best to begin with. Like, you're really gonna just kind of it's terrible. And then you just give these guys it's all about just giving those guys, certain guys, whatever they want. No culture. Honestly, Belleville said, I'm gonna say this too, because I'm like, this is no culture. And if you don't teach those young guys the right culture, then guess what? You got basically an organization like Ottawa who just nothing's earned, right? Just give them the rope, right? Whereas with Washington and Hershey, like Garrett told me, he goes, I come to the bench and I would get guys giving me shit because I didn't get the puck deep at the right time. He goes, if I do that in Belleville, the guys, they fold like a cheap suit.
Jeez.
And the coaches go, don't be so negative. He goes, holy crap. He goes, my first year in Hershey, a couple of years, he goes, I had guys like Mike Scarbosa, Molson was there, right?
Yeah.
Telling, giving shit. Like I said, Garrett, that's the right way. You're building culture, man.
Yeah.
Right? That's why Hershey does well. Spencer Carberry, this year, it's not his fault, honestly. It's an Ovechkin thing to me, because Ovechkin is he won a Stanley Cup. He got all his goals last year. Now this year they're struggling. He's got to be and Ovechkin's a good team guy from what I hear, but is he really that committed? You know what I mean? I don't think so, right? I don't think so anyway.
Do you think he's going to retire this year? I mean, I think he's a free agent finally.
He's done. There's no way he's come back.
That might be it. He's just taking the easy road out.
Spencer Carberry is a good coach. Even when Garrett signed with Ottawa, he almost signed with Washington because Spencer Carberry had him in the minors and really liked him. And Garrett was texting with Spencer, and he goes, and good on Carberry. He was he told G, he's like, listen, he goes, I'm a first-year coach. I have no pull. He goes, I would go try another organization just to see what it's like. Because you never know how good you have it sometimes until you go elsewhere. And he was right. Now, Garrett knows how good, even though sometimes in Hershey it was tough, he had it pretty good in Hershey, right? So I hope he signs back. I hope he gets an opportunity to sign back with Wash. And even if he signs a straight minor league deal, I said, Garrett, you're better have to sign a straight minor league deal, not put any pressure on the parent team. And then all of a sudden, if you're having a really good year, they'll flip it if they have to.
Yeah, sure.
They'll find a way.
Yeah. And how that became a reference now, too, from the two different cultures he was involved in,
Oh, now he knows that. He knows. Now he knows. And he's been captain, so he's going to have a little bit more in his, he's got a little bit more in his toolbox again, right? Yeah. Another, all the extra work of being a captain, he didn't know that, right? Big deal. When you're the captain, you're in on the coach. You're in with the coach.
Yeah.
So you got to manage. You got to be like a rat in a very fucking good way to make sure that certain guys are with the coach, because your loyalties with the coach is trying to teach you what does he need to know from that room that you could bring in there to say the ship's not going the right way because of this, right?
Sure. And you're walking a tightrope, no, for sure.
And so it's been a great learning thing for him. And I said to him, because he feels bad, he's taking it personally that the team sucks, right?
Yeah.
And he's captain.
That's right. And that's
so he's taking it and that's okay. Like I said to Garrett, Garrett, learn from all this. Don't look at when they tell you the team sucked. You go you know what? I learned a lot being captain. I learned how much work. Take all the positive things out of it.
Yeah.
Learn to be right. You learn how to deal with a coach, right? You learn how management actually is You better be with the right management, or else you're going to see what you just seen in Ottawa. It's
Sure.
why do you think Ottawa's in the same boat they are? You just got to look at their management.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like, we were talking before about when, like that stretch after the 92, 93 where things just went in the shitter for the Islanders because of bad management, bad ownership.
Yeah.
But you also had a revolving door for coaches and captains, right?
And everything. Whether it's like I played with so many players, I got so many, like when I was like, I'm in a lawsuit right now for coaching, right? I was coaching a junior A team. And I was like, because I was like, I played with so many guys on the island because so many guys came through the door. A lot of these guys are in management positions now. So I was looking at to go on to coaching until this stuff happened to me here. But I'm like, whatever. I'm like, but that's how many guys are in management. Like there's Bergevin, there's like all these guys, man. There's so many.
Yeah.
Tom
Fitzgerald. A lot of guys.
Fitzy,
yeah.
A lot of guys. A lot of different, like,
To 92, 93 a lot because, again, you were in the middle of it. And there was two big things that happened in that playoff run. The first one was against the Capitals, right? With, what's his name there? Dale Hunter.
Did we lose him?
We lost Rich. Let's see what happens. He might be plugging in his phone now. Maybe the battery died.
2 hours, 44 minutes, 40 seconds.
We might have to let him go, too, because we don't want him to get in trouble. Let me text him. I'm going to text him, and if he texted, if it's open, the circuit's open, then you might have to plug back in.
Did he say something about his phone dying?
No, I'm just wondering if it did. I don't know if it was plugged in or not. You know, I always keep mine plugged in when I'm doing shit because it just takes a lot of battery out of it.
Yeah, video for sure. We're gonna have to wrap it up anyway, man. I mean, we got some good stuff.
I just want to touch on the the Hunter thing and the Stevens thing. Man, what a fucking hit that was, though. I mean, Stevens. You know, people talk about the hit. I'm like, Stevens delivered the freaking hit. You know what I mean? Like he came zooming around, bam! They both went freaking flying.
Yeah.
Only, you know, unfortunately, and I want to ask him because the train of thought is they think that his temple, when they came together, hit the side of Richie's helmet and face mask, you know, visor, which is what knocked him out, and then he dropped to the ground and smashed his face on the ice, you know. But hope something didn't happen there.
I think his phone died.
Oops. Yeah. I just called him and went right to the voicemail. Can you pause the recording, or do you have to?
No, I'd have to create two separate ones, which I don't want to do.
So screw that then. Man, some of that shit was funny, huh?
He's got some good shit, man. There's some good shit in there. There's some other stuff that, first of all, it's almost 3 hours, so we're definitely gonna have to trim it down. But there's some really good stuff, so we'll keep it to, his story and that stuff, the inspirational stuff, but also the hockey stuff. There's a lot of like kind of off-roading, a lot of off-roading going on there, and especially in the beginning. But I'll have to do some work on it. It might take me longer than it did to clean up Mick's interview with all those friggin'
dead
air in between. You should have seen. It's so funny. I was, when you're doing it, when you're looking at it, it shows you, the activity. You see the lines and shit, and it's just like space, 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 space. I'm like, cut, paste, remove. That took me hours to do, man. This is gonna be more like sections.
I'm just gonna get a little glass of water here.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it too. Refill. I feel like that opening scene in Slapshot where there's all that awkward silence and clearing their throats and waiting for the commercial to end. Hey, listen, I forgot to ask you before. So next week on the 26th, which I think is Thursday, they're putting in the stair lift for mom.
Right.
Can you be there for them while they're doing the install? Because they're going to want mom at the end after it's installed to come and, they'll have to show her how to use it and have her try it all for the first time before they leave. And I don't think she should be there for the entire time. And that would give me a chance to work because I don't know how many hours it's going to take to do. I don't know. Are you available to do that? And then I'll bring her over there at the end.
Let me double check.
Oh, excuse me.
What time are they supposed to come over?
1 o'clock.
All right, because my only issue, I mean, Lisa could take care of the babies because it's only two of them. I mean, it's only Andy and Brady. It's not all three. But I have an appointment with my urologist at noon. I could be out of there before 1, or I might be there until 1. It depends on when they get to me.
Yeah,
Sometimes they get to me right away, and he usually takes care of me and looks at me, and I'm out of there in 15 minutes. But it's something that I can't miss because I had the surgery and procedure and shit back in December, and he already moved this appointment on me once before, so I do have to go.
okay. Well,
But
then what I could do is then I could go there at 1 and then hang out, work from there until you get out. Again, because I'm not sure how long they're going to be.
Okay, but I will definitely go right after I'm done with him, and I'll just let you know I'm on my way, and then you may only be there 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You may, maybe a little less, maybe a little more, but yeah, I do have to. I knew there was something I had to do on that day.
Okay. All right. So we'll do that. I'll make sure I'll be there to let them in and everything, and then when you can get back, I'll come back. You hang out there until they're done, and then I'll bring mom over. I think we should both be there anyway when they explain everything, how to use everything.
Okay. What do you think? I think his phone died. He didn't have a charger in his truck, and he's driving home.
And he's 20 minutes from home.
And he's 20 minutes from home, and he's going to grab his charger. It's going to take 5 minutes for it to charge so he can get on there.
So this is what I think we should do because it's like it's 12:30. Text them, just say, hey, listen, man, I understand you must have a problem with the phone. Can we have just a wrap up 15-20 minute call tomorrow night or Thursday night or whatever?
He has, well, obviously he works his regular day jobs, and then he told me, he didn't tell me what it is, but he has an event tomorrow and an event Wednesday, and I think another one on Thursday, and then he's got these events he's got to do, and then he's flying out to Pittsburgh the day after that, which he even talked about before.
So then I think we're just going to have to do the best with it from an editing thing and just say, hey, Rich had some technical difficulties on his end, and we just want to thank him and hopefully have him back on to finish with the rest of his stories. And then just, let him know, hey, listen, we understand you probably have an issue with your phone. Really appreciate it. Would love to have you back on at another time to maybe finish up with us.
All right, I'll text him right now.
Okay.
I'll say we'll give it another 10 minutes to see if you can get back online. And if not, would you agree to come back on another day so we can finish it? So we can, finish everything up.
Okay.
All right.
But if we get him back on in 10 minutes, we got to wrap him up quick.
Yeah,
And it's hard because he keeps going.
I know. And we've been letting them go. I mean,
We're letting him go because
maybe we should jump in. I got to try to jump in, but it was tough to jump in.
yeah, it's tough, man. Because he just keeps going from one thought to another, and then he goes back.
Yes. And then wait a minute, what was your question again? I couldn't believe that he said, when I came to New York, I stepped off the plane, I started seeing all these black people.
Yeah, got to cut that out. Then I go to Toronto and I see black people. And then I go to New York, and that's just me being scared. Okay.
I'm not from that. I've never seen that.
Seen a lot of Indians, never seen any black people. And he called Glenn Sather a dick.
Fucking awesome, man.
I know, it's great.
A ball licker?
Yeah. Staios? Who's that guy? It sounds familiar.
Yeah. He was a hockey player.
Yeah, Steve Staios?
He's the coach, evidently, of Belleville, where his son plays.
Yeah, but is it Steve Staios? Is that the guy?
I'll have to check it. Look him up. I'm still texting this guy.
Yeah, Steve Staios played with Chicago, right?
All right, Steve, you're right.
Bruins, Canucks, Thrashers, Oilers, Calgary Flames, and New York Islanders.
He played with the Islanders?
Yeah.
Probably in the early 2000s when everybody played for the Islanders.
Yeah. Stage fans. In September 2011, Staios signed an unrestricted free agent contract with the New York Islanders. On April 6th, 2012, he played his 1,000th game. He announced his retirement as a player. That was around a long time. He announced his retirement as a player following his 1,001st NHL game during the 2011-2012 season. So he played a handful of games for Ted Nolan, probably 11, 12. Yeah.
Oh, that's after Nolan.
Is it?
Yeah, Nolan was like 06, 07 or something like that.
He was there for what, two seasons?
Yeah. And didn't they fucking sabotage Goring to bring him in? And then he only lasted 2 years and they fucking tossed him out.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, fucked up. Bill Berry.
Sabotaged Lorne Henning from Millbury.
Yep. I think after this guy, after after Nolan was what's his face? Wasn't it Scott Gordon?
Yeah, you know what? It's all we were spoiled, man. You know, having Al off 20-something years. Everybody knew who the coach was. After him,
Terry Simpson.
Then Arba came back.
Simpson came straight from juniors. He didn't even coach in the AHL. Simpson.
No, he was junior. He was with the Prince Albert Raiders.
What the hell was Torrey thinking?
He was doing what he was told. Because every time I put shit out there, Rich jumps in and tells me that I'm how right I am, or you're onto something there, and then blah, 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 you know. So
Fucking Pickett.
damn, man, we were just about to end it. I was going to ask him about those two things, and then fucking that would have been it.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, though. That's 2025 registration. The Lee and Aidan McMahon Foundation is who, you know, Joe McMahon does the gal founding through, because his mom and his son, he lost his mom and his son to, I guess, cancer or something.
Oh yeah, he does it every year, right?
Yeah. So we should register, man, one of these days.
What, is it open to everybody?
I think it is. I think it's donation. You know, these guys just do it because he had a very good relationship with all these guys, according to what it says.
So when is it this year? Yeah, it's probably a lot of money.
Let's see, register now. See how much it costs. $350 per golfer. $1,400 per foursome. Last year was August 2nd.
What is it this year? Do they have a date?
I don't see anything for this year. Could try to connect there. Contact. I just subscribed IFAN Network to their newsletter.
We're gonna have to get some IFAN golf shirts.
Yeah, a little like this, but it would be the IFAN logo. Donate.
So I'd do it for $350. Where do they have it? It's out east.
Middle Island Country Club. But remember, that's what Andre Salamat was saying.
Where is that?
And he couldn't get the name, and you went Middle Island, I think, not far from me. Yapank. No wait. Yapank Middle Island Road in Middle Island.
Fucking Middle Island is a town?
Yeah. I think it's a little bit past Coram out that way.
Middle Island Country Club. Yeah, Yaphank. It's right in between. Well, it says Yaphank and Middle Island, north of Yaphank. Yeah, it's about a half an hour from me. What day of the week is it?
Well, the last one was on August 2nd, which was a Saturday.
They don't have this year's date set?
No. That's why I registered for that's why I subscribed to the newsletter. Maybe when they announce it, it'll come out, you know? Last year, it was August 2nd on a Saturday, and it started at 11 a.m. I don't see an email thing for them, though. Although I think they're on Twitter. They're on X. So we'll follow it. Jeez. Follow their X account. The last post was for the golf outing of 2018. Let's see. Does this guy look familiar to you? Or
Who?
this fat guy? There's a picture here that
No.
Butch Flooring posted of a lot of the Stanley Cup champs at a table. They're eating dinner. Trottier is right next to him. That's Tonelli next to Trottier. And Smith is over here. He's out of the picture right now because I zoomed it. And Kevin Feeney sent me a message saying, "Who's the guy between Trotz and Smitty?" And I'm like, I don't know who the hell that is.
I don't know if he's a player. Maybe it's Joe McMahon.
It's fucking huge.
It's not Alex McKendry. Always shows up. Played like fucking 4 games that whole year, all in the playoffs, right?
Yeah. Then he wound up in Calgary. They traded him there.
He was a first round pick.
But he got Dennis Potvin.
Where is this?
Florida. It looks to me like Florida. Unless these guys are all up here, but that's Flatley. Potvin's next to him. The young guy with the beard, I don't know. And then Nystrom. Nystrom's got the hat.
Yeah, he was always got a hat on now.
Like, take the fucking thing off, pussy. Let's go. You know what's stupid?
Where's Johnny Pfeiffer and where's Johnny Pfeiffer and Joe Halloran?
Maybe that's Joe Halloran, the fat guy.
No, that ain't Joe Halloran.
Trotz has his mouth full. Tonelli. Oh, and that's Morrow all the way at the end next to Tonelli. Yeah, a lot of guys. But yeah, like nice ones be wearing a suit and a fucking baseball hat. I'm like, don't do that. That looks so fucked up.
Yeah, really. He must really be fucking sensitive about his baldness. All right, man. It's 5-2.
I no longer can fly on the ice with my hair flying behind me.
The flaxen locks.
All right, so evidently this guy, I'm hoping he wasn't like pulled over to the side of the road and then got fucking rear-ended or something. That would suck.
Well, at least we know he didn't get a DWI.
Well, I tell you, he sounded like any one of the guys we could have grew up with.
Absolutely, that's like most of these fucking guys.
Would blow, go to strip clubs.
Drinking.
He goes, I just got home. My phone died. So I'm going to go, want to pick it up